breaking hearts, and eventually all the rules. Matty T, Genevieve, and Eric James. It's the Crying Game.
Yeah.
It's over. Our demo tape is dead and gone. We're real professionals now. Mm-hmm. So this is episode 3. 3.
3,
You can find episode 0 on eBay.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It'll cost you.
Get those vintage episode 0 t-shirts. It was good. So we're back. Again, thank you everybody who keeps hitting us up. Yeah. Although we have 70-ish friends who listened to the first episode, but not the second episode, and shame on you.
Yeah.
You'll be receiving calls.
Or Jen's mom couldn't find enough computers. They kicked her out of the library.
She got cut off.
Yeah, too many, flaming too many people on those Guy Fieri forums.
Yeah, my mom, the internet troll.
So this week we have my buddy Archie. Hi, Archie.
Hey, Archie.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
And then, of course,
bud.
Jen and Eric. I looked at the right people this time.
You did? Yeah.
Doing it. And so we're back. How's everybody?
Doing.
Just fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think we have
All
much
right.
business
Doing all
to
right.
attend to.
Sorry.
We're on, by the time you hear this, we should be on Stitcher and hopefully iTunes and can listen to us all over now, so no more complaining about SoundCloud.
Yeah. We're
Oh,
gonna be...
you guys didn't want to pay anything to put your podcast out.
Well, just so you know, I had to pay $7 so that people could listen to it, which is
it wouldn't
fine.
save my place. I had to scan through the episode.
It won't let you download.
Hours.
Yeah.
It won't. I'm sorry.
We're also going to be on Apple Buzz. That's the Applebee's podcast
Nice.
forum.
What was the slogan for Applebee's?
Going through the motions.
Yeah, that's our new slogan for Applebee's. Applebee's, get at us for some viral marketing we've never seen before.
Going
like
through the motions.
When you place your order and they give you the iPad, you can play games. You can also now listen to this podcast before you're
Yeah, a mental health podcast because, you're here.
We were talking about Applebee's before the podcast because I went there with a girl where this long relationship was ending, and we were literally just going through the motions of like trying to pretend like it was still a thing. And while there in a packed Applebee's, I choked on a mozzarella stick very embarrassingly, like to the point where there was like a long string of drooly cheese hanging out of my mouth, but still lodged in my throat because every time I tried to pull it, it would just get longer and longer, but wouldn't just lodge. And like I could just see the shame in this woman's eyes that I was with. She was just like so embarrassed to even know me
Because you're literally going through the motions.
Yeah.
We're like, eating isn't, you're just like, put in mouth, swallow, chew.
Don't choke.
This is what couples do. Actually, it was around that
the last step.
It was around that time because we had an apartment together and she had moved out and we were like still trying to make it work. And I was so fucked up and sad about it that I was making spaghetti at my house and I put a little oil in the water to keep the spaghetti separated. And while it was waiting to boil, I was so bummed out and out of it. I was just staring off into space, and the whole pot boiled over. And I only became aware of it and came back to actual reality and not just thinking about what a bummer my whole life was because my stove was on fire.
Babe, we're going to Applebee's now.
Applebee's going through the
I
motions.
just love the concept of just like, I burned the spaghetti.
I didn't even burn the spaghetti. I burned the water.
I know, yeah.
I set my whole stove on fire, boiling water.
Yeah,
That's Jesus level.
Yeah.
Jesus level depression right there.
It was great.
An emotion-based grease fire.
Yeah, it was. It was like what my soul felt
Out of
like.
hand.
What a beautiful metaphor that is.
So I guess let's just jump into it. We're going to switch up. We're going to talk about our weeks first and then what made us cry.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Sounds great.
Who wants to go first?
Not Jen.
Not Jen. I'll go first.
Yeah, why don't you,
Meltdown
moderator?
last time.
Because my week was pretty good.
Yeah, let's start off with something light.
Yeah. I started bartending training on Wednesday. Got promoted at work kind of because there's this huge kerfluffle that went on. There's like this big changing of the tides. Work is super stressful right now because like now nobody knows who the actual manager is. There's a bunch of people who have managerial responsibilities, but like nobody is like actual head of anything anymore. And but in the
Anyone running the meat raffle?
I don't know who is running the meat raffle right now.
Put your hand in.
My boss will not listen to this, but he asked me to come into work today, and I told him I was going to see my mother. But actually, I'm just here.
I mean,
recording a
technically,
podcast
that's
with
like
my-
half true.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll talk about this now. Last week, so my mom texted me after the first episode came out where I didn't talk shit about her, but said I was going to talk shit about her.
Yeah.
And she texted me like, "Hey, I'm so proud of you. Like, talk whatever you got to talk. Like, I would love to be a guest, blah, blah, blah." And it was really cool and uplifting. And, like, I was suspicious because my mother is normally a lot more dramatic than that. But, oh, wait. A few weeks later, Mom gets a little trashed. I made a post on Instagram of like Frankenstein's monster and like how like he had the ugliest face in the world, and I wrote "same" like sarcastically. And at like 1 a.m, she like commented on it like, "You're beautiful and more, son." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, gonna get a weird call from Mom tomorrow." So then she like Facebook friend requests me, but we're already friends on Facebook. So I'm like, okay, so I accept, and she calls me immediately. I was like, "Sorry about that. I meant to delete everything, but I couldn't." But really, it was just this thinly veiled excuse to call me while she was drunk and like talk about how she loves the podcast, but also it makes her super bummed out and made her cry and like made her feel bad and made her remember a bunch of stuff. And then kept, "We still want you on, Mom," and like it's. You know, this is all part of who you are as a wonderful person. She's like, "I would love to be on. I'll be honest. I might be more honest than you thought." Like, and she just like kept in her like drunk loop. She kept saying that, and I was like, "I don't know what that means, dude. But you can be on the podcast still." But yeah, so this week was pretty good. I bartend trained on Wednesday. Been working a lot. My anxiety's been really bad, and it's been trying to sabotage me, but I have not been letting it, which is good. And then Thursday, I didn't go to work, and I went to see Judas Priest for the first time, and that was fucking awesome. It was unreal. And yeah, it's been a pretty good week, other than work being really stressful and my anxiety brain trying to do bad things to me. So I'm going to give my week a B-.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
pretty
nice.
good.
That
Yeah.
is a good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go left. Archie, guest.
Cool.
Tell us about it.
So I also had a pretty good week this week. I bought tickets to go to SmackDown in May.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
And so I was like pretty hyped.
yeah,
I was
brother.
pretty
Nice.
hyped about that. But and I'm sure we'll get into it later. My week runs on routine, on a daily schedule, and if I can complete the routine without interruption, then I usually have like a pretty good day. Like I usually run pretty positive. I don't have like, slow days or gray days. And so only a couple times I hit a bump in the road where I wanted to ritualize. We'll do that. We'll get into that later. You know what I mean? But the wrestling thing was pretty like a mix of those worlds, because downtown parking at like noon, 1 o'clock is impossible, and I didn't want to pay any meter parking for what should be like a 10-minute interaction.
Oh, yeah,
So I parked like a mile down the road on 15-minute parking, and I thought to myself, I'm a runner.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can do it. And I had just come from the gym, so I was in like full on attire. And so I put my phone on a 15-minute timer and then tried to stress myself out about like, you're not going to make it. Your car's going to get towed. So like sprinted through downtown.
They always immediately tow your car.
Yeah.
And like if someone were to ask me like, what are you like going for a run? It's like, no, I need to buy wrestling tickets. And, like,
What year is this?
Got to the window and was like going to the teller. I was like, hey, like I only have 6 minutes and 42, 41, 40 seconds. Let's please like make this quick. But I got him and I did not get towed. And so I am also going to give myself a B because it was a nice week.
I want to say,
That's awesome.
I mean, like, I wasn't a part of the week, but I'd give you a plus. For
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take
Especially
that.
for running.
I'll take
time,
that.
making
Yeah.
your time, like that's dope.
Because
like,
if I am faced with that dilemma all the time of I don't want to pay for metered parking, but I also don't want to walk very far.
Yeah.
Because I'm
It's a huge dilemma.
I'm a little princess, so I just end up just not doing anything.
Yeah, it's like chalk it up as like, I'll do it later.
I don't
Next
have
time.
any quarters. What if someone tries to go behind me while I'm parallel parking? It's just not worth it. It's just
know what?
just easier to stay home.
I
don't need
not
health
go.
insurance.
I'm missing wrestling. Yeah.
It's easier to just
Well, after I searched, because it took me like 45 minutes, because I was looking for people who put money in the meter and then left. I was looking for like green. It's like it's so embarrassing to admit, but I was like, I don't have any change either. And if I did, I'm like, you're not getting it, City of Worcester.
Oh, yeah,
Forget
yeah.
that.
you get an hour and 25 minutes for a quarter though.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, God forbid I
Well,
give
then you
someone
gotta
else
use
time
it.
after me.
Then you
Yeah.
gotta use the whole time.
Yeah, you better-
Like,
Might as well go to the
Flash forward to
library.
Archie just sitting on the hood of his car waiting for his meter to.
Still got 40 minutes.
Getting my money's worth.
I actually stared smoking cigarettes so I could sit on the hood of my car.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
like-
you do look way cooler than you did before you started.
Absolutely,
smoking
especially
cigarettes.
sitting on a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really don't look that cool if you're not
No.
smoking a cigarette
On
sitting
my
on a car.
No, you're
2000
like, why is that asshole sitting on his car?
Fucking weirdo.
The cigarette really puts it in.
Oh,
frames
he's
it.
he's about to smoke smoke. Okay,
He's all right.
It
No,
makes
he's
sense.
all
It's
right.
fine.
If you're not smoking, I think it actually looks like it's not your car.
I mean, usually when I'm sitting on the hood of a car, it's someone else's car, and I'm not smoking.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Get
Well,
off of
cool
that.
Lambo.
Yeah, I say,
You know, all those Lambos
Cool
you see parked
Lambo,
out.
yeah.
that you're always taking
Yeah.
taking a seat on.
Just like sitting, posted up real cool.
Yeah.
It was also really nice because a lady who was having like a very similar problem to me trying to find parking, like pulled
For
up.
wrestling tickets?
Yeah, for wrestling
yeah.
tickets. She pulled up and she rolled down the window and she was like, "Excuse me, like I don't know where to go." And so I have a feeling that I had a better week than she did.
yeah.
And so I can't honestly say that like I have to.
She needed those tickets. So
Yeah.
The divorce is real messy, and
Do you have
trying to be
wrestling
the better
tickets?
parent.
I'm gonna
I'll
be,
be
the
a better
fun
parent if I go to wrestling.
Yeah, I don't bring. My
I'll have cool stories to tell my kids.
I saw
I
John
have two
Cena.
kids. I need SmackDown tickets. One ticket, please.
Yeah.
You take your kid to buy one ticket.
Oh man, did I?
I'm not. You were bad this week.
Yeah.
Looks like mommy's going to see John Cena by herself.
Did I ever tell you about the time that my dad saw Bray Wyatt?
In real life,
That's it, really.
No, I just said it. Yeah, on TV.
Archie saw Alexa Bliss at the gym once.
Oh yeah, I was gonna save that. I did. Yeah, I did see her at the gym once, and I really.
Who did you see? Who was it?
I saw women's Raw champion Alexa Bliss at the gym.
Oh, yeah.
And I really made a terrible situation out of it because I was working out. All of my shit is like centered around like working out too, which yeah. And so I saw her there because wrestling was in town, and I immediately knew who it was. And
Yeah.
like dead stopped on the treadmill. I was like, I must make my presence known. I must meet you. And I
You
got
get up and do the Randy Orton on the treadmill. Like,
But I was like, cool, dude, be respectful. Like, don't go up to her when she's working out. Wait for her to stop.
you definitely just hang around and wait.
Yeah, which turned into me like waiting.
Just
Just intensely
stop.
watching her, waiting for your moment.
Yeah.
And then so she stopped working out, and then you have to go wipe down the equipment. So she went to go do that, and I like tailed her and still think that I'm being like a respectful fan, and I just went, "Excuse me." Like she was like, "Excuse me." I let off with, "I know who you are." she was like, "Okay," and I froze because I was like, "I need to make this interaction last a long time," but
Yeah.
like I'm not ready for this to end. And so I was like, "What's it like being the champ?" Like, keep in mind, I was like sweating profusely
yeah.
and like oddly,
blinking at all?
oddly
And you hadn't
starstruck.
worked out for a little bit.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like,
And she was like, "Oh, it's pretty good," and then was like really trying to get out there, and then I was like, "Wait, no, dude, be funny, say something, make it last longer." So I was like, "When you go on airplanes, do you check that, or do you bring it with you on the flight?" And she was like, "No, I put it in a bag." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Must be heavy." And then she was like, "Cool." And then, because I'm an awesome fan, I was like, "Can I get a picture?"
oh yeah.
And, like, took a picture, which I then posted, and it's just like, if there was ever two people who were never supposed to take a picture together, like that's what it is. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, it's so weird. Like, whenever if you ever encounter like a celebrity in any sort of like vein, where like even if you convince yourself like ahead of time, I met I was at Comic-Con, and I met the guys who write Venture Brothers, and it's like my favorite show, and they had a little thing, and I usually would never go meet them, but I was like, oh, like I gotta go see them, and so I'm in line. There's not too many people in line, but like I was just sitting there like and just like, there's people, like I'll go up, I'll thank them so much for like doing the show, and that's great. And then I couldn't help notice like how sweaty I was getting. And I like, and my hands were all clammy, and like I was just like felt my face getting red, and I was like, "What's going on?" Like they're just people, like they're just
They
like
say hi to
two
you and
guys.
you burst into tears.
Well, so they come out, and I had two posters to give to them that of like something from their show that my friend drew, and like so like I went up and I was like, "Hey, if you guys don't have these and you would like them, I like my friend drew them," and then they were like, "Are you giving us these?" And I was like, "Yeah," and then they were like, "Thank you," and I was like, "Okay." And I gave it to him, and then like they signed the thing that they were gonna like give to me, and then I said to him like, I don't know why, but I was just like, man, this is going a lot better than I thought. I haven't farted yet. And they're like, yeah, all right. And I was like, okay, bye. And then
Nailed it.
yeah, nailed it, 100%. And then I went outside and like immediately shakingly smoked a cigarette. It's just, oh man, just it's such a weird thing though. It's like they're just people.
They're just people until they're not, though.
Yeah,
like that's the
and
thing.
then they're
yeah.
and then they're there.
yeah.
I hate meeting any celebrity.
Oh, I don't
never-
That's
like
the
it.
thing. It's so.
I don't
like
want
it.
to talk to them. They're always just like a disappointing, crappy
Know
person
who's-
that I didn't actually want to hang out with.
Yeah, know
Yeah.
who's great to meet? People on crews. like
yeah.
like people who work on the crew for movies and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yep.
Those people are very, very nice. Although they
They're salt of the
never
earth.
have
We
grip
got a buddy
tape.
that does it.
You figure they'd have more grip
Hollywood.
tape.
I know you listen,
They
Hollywood,
always
because you
need more
texted
grip
me. Hollywood Mahoney.
Yeah.
You out? We out here.
Big shout out. We out here.
Yeah, Hollywood Mahoney.
I've literally only ever met a famous person like 2 times.
Yeah.
And
The
one-
same person 2 times.
Same
though?
person
Yeah,
2
yeah,
times. Just, and their name
Thank
was
you,
famous.
Wilford Brimley.
when I briefly dated Nicolas Cage.
And I,
Yeah, twice.
and both times it was. I think I've definitely told you guys this story.
It went on for 3 days, and they had to
And
call
then they had to
cops
call the
get Nicolas
police.
Cage out of your house.
Get out of my fucking house.
Yeah. I live here.
Crawling up
Like,
under my
A,
bed.
B, C, D.
Yeah.
No, but I made fun of Tuukka Rask once because I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't realize it was him because he wears a fucking goalie mask, and I was just I sold.
out in public.
Yeah, he was out in public. I sold
He's in
him
a 3-piece suit and a
I
goalie
sold
mask.
Oh, there he is. He took taking it off. Who was that? Who's
How
that?
could you not recognize Ray Park?
Yeah.
I
Oh, I
sold,
thought he
I
was
sold him a
Jason
steak,
Voorhees.
and it
Oh,
was
yeah.
it was. They were like, the butchers were like, "Did Tuukka leave yet?" And I was like, "Oh, I just razzed that guy like endlessly for like 5 minutes."
Hey, haircut. Why don't you get out of here?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what he appreciated. Was
Tuukka
like,
Rask actually loves heavy metal. Did you know that?
does he? I
He's,
feel like he
been
does.
rated one of
Well,
the most heavy metal athletes every year.
really?
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty cool.
awesome.
He like loves Metallica and like Finnish black metal.
That makes
things.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got those Finnish eyes.
That you made fun of.
Can't tell.
Like, hey, Finn eyes.
Hey, Finn eyes, nice and white, like I like them.
Jen was coming up with ethnic slurs for Finnish people that don't even exist.
In eyes.
And she's like, "Oh, he was famous. Fuck."
That guy does exist,
What?
though, right? Yeah, you're not making up a guy.
Tuukka Rask? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's real.
No, it's just reeling my
He's the
element
Bruins
that
goalie.
day.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sports things.
Yeah, I knew.
I'm sure it doesn't even didn't even register to him.
And
I'm
a
sure
br-
he appreciated a girl in a cat shirt
Yeah.
making fun of him.
Definitely.
Yeah. A Bruin's a bear, right?
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a bear.
Yeah, it's bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go Bears.
Welcome to the Bear Podcast.
Yeah. We're talking about
I think that already
That's a
exists.
different podcast,
we're
dude.
talking about honey and picnic baskets.
No, Archie, that's our podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, my cub.
Nice.
I would figure you'd be more of an otter.
I know.
No, Archie's super hairy.
Yeah.
I thought otters
Yeah.
are really hairy.
I thought Otter.
I think they have like a slick down
Yeah.
fur.
Someone called John Waters.
Is there-
You eat
Yeah.
clams
Yeah.
on your belly?
Yep. Yep.
All right,
And
all right,
I
there
really
you go.
enjoy holding
Yeah, you know-
hands, so that's another thing.
Do you
Yeah.
know how to use stuff as tools? That
Yeah.
aren't usually tools.
That aren't
Maddie
usually
and I are
jewels.
holding hands.
We're holding hands right now, just so everybody knows. Archie, your hands are so cold.
I know. I'm incredibly
Here.
nervous.
Let me give you some of that warmth,
Yeah,
buddy.
thanks, dude.
Little buddy.
Your hands are astonishingly warm.
I'm a real spicy boy.
Yeah.
It's been said. I'm a hot guy.
Okay.
Feel better?
Yeah.
It's okay, buddy. Don't be nervous. You're doing great. All right, Eric.
Yeah.
Do you want to go next, or
Yeah,
you
sure.
got? I know you got a big one. Should we do Jen next?
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
do mine.
Yeah,
Eric had a
yeah.
really
Just,
tough week, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him some time.
Let me just flip to my pages. So I guess I did write down a bunch of stuff that was. It's kind of like a culmination of everything that's happened since we last recorded.
Uh huh. Yeah, 'cause
Which is
it's been a few
it's
weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
3 weeks?
3 weeks, yeah.
Jiminy
it was,
crickets.
No, I'm sorry. I got sick last week. Everybody, I'm still
no,
kind of
it's
sick.
fine.
We
I know you didn't
we
even
talked.
ask you.
We don't have group
Sorry.
message anymore, but Jen and I talked
Yeah.
about how
God,
we're like
that's
really
part of my-
sick.
I thought that was why that
Really?
Jen mysteriously lost her. group
Oh,
messaging.
I can't
It's
group
like,
message anymore. Eric, can you fucking believe this guy?
Yeah.
I'm
I hope
sick.
Archie works out on
yeah.
Sunday so we can
Yeah, seriously.
axe Maddie.
Just don't let
Hey,
on
you don't
that
get
it's an audition.
sick, right?
Yeah, I've never been sick once.
Awesome.
That's what I like to hear. Let's see. I had a ton of nightmares.
That's not good.
Oh man.
I have a system for sleeping. where
Do you have nightmares?
for me to have nightmares because I love them. No, but I have like a routine that I have to go through because I have nightmares all the time, so I can't sleep on my back.
Oh, really?
I have to have the fan on, window cracked, have to have my hair up in a ponytail, cannot wear pants, and cannot be spooned for very long, which is very upsetting for Abdul because
he's
I'm
a
just
big
like,
cuddly
get
bear.
off me, you fucking hot bastard. It's like, oh, it's like sleeping
and
next
then
to an
Jen
oven.
says,
That's also what people say when I'm next to me on the subject of me being hot. I am also, people have called me a space heater,
Yeah,
a
it's,
oil furnace,
if I get too hot or if blood pools on my spine by sleeping on my back, which is a thing.
or if
that
my
I do.
hair's too loose.
Or if my hair's too loose. If my hair's too loose, I wake up like, I'm like, oh God, I gotta get fucking elastic. So I had horrifying nightmares.
Joan Crawford.
Yeah, it's the worst. So,
no one saw the physical impression that Jen and I did, but it,
It was
a
great.
perfect
Eric's
Joan
was-
Crawford.
We did
Eric's
the
is
same
great.
thing.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
weird.
yeah, I do
Well,
it a
you know
lot.
Joan
though.
Crawford. You know how she's going to react.
That was the celebrity that Jen met twice. She wasn't talking about
Yeah,
Tinker
Joan
Rass.
Crawford.
She
yeah.
looks a lot
in the
like-
morning.
Yeah.
What else? Went to my dad's birthday party. His
Cool.
60th
Yeah.
birthday party.
Woo!
Is
Which
this one
was-
of the nightmares, or is this
This is a real life thing.
Okay, all right.
Could have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
My mom rented a stretch Hummer for my dad's 60th
I remember
birthday.
you saying that. Yeah.
So the stretch Hummer was kept at Mohegan Sun for a medical emergency. Don't know what that means. So they sent a tour bus, like a Bret Michaels Rock
No
of Love
way.
tour bus,
Whoa.
with a bathroom and a stripper pole, and it fit 40 people. It was like a fucking Greyhound bus. And me and Abdul went, and it was great.
Yeah.
We were the most sober people there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, all my parents' friends they bought us shots of, what was it? Crab. Where are you? Why can't I think of it? Fireball. Duh. Yeah, and I was just like, oh God, yeah. So that was good. That was a high point, but I had a pretty,
It's so funny that it's just like freshly 21-year-olds and dads are like the
60.
same level of drunk.
Yeah.
Like it's like once you get to dad age, like proper 50, 60 dad age, then you can be like, well, I'm getting just as drunk as I used to now. Like,
And my parents can really party. They have a ton of friends.
I wanna talk
So
about
many more
Bitcoin.
friends than I have, except for I don't know now that I have 3 new friends
Woo,
sitting
3
right
friends.
here.
yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, Archie, welcome to our friendship circle.
Yeah.
I am really so honored. You have no idea. It's like sitting. Well, speaking of celebrities, it is like sitting at a table with very cool, famous people.
Yeah.
You hear them
That's-
on the radio,
so sweet.
and now you're on the table.
And I haven't
It's
even
really
farted
cool.
yet.
Yeah.
Me either.
I'm sitting next to you, so when you do fart, it's like, and then he farted on me.
Yeah, no, yeah, he did
It
it.
was cool.
The thing that Eric is notoriously known
Yeah.
for.
Is farting
Yeah,
on people.
he farted on Ryan Jarvis a lot during that 2 hours.
Ryan kept his
absolutely.
cool though. He didn't mention it once.
He loves being farted on.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Huffing.
Ladies,
huffing it.
if you go out on dates with Ryan Jarvis, fart on him. He loves
Loves
this.
But only on official dates. Do not just go up to
No
him. fart on
cash,
him.
no
Yeah.
cash farting.
Yeah,
Only for
consent.
podcasts
Yeah.
and dating.
And yeah, all consensual.
Consensual fartcast.
Fartcast. That's also
That's the
on
name of
the
this
Apple
episode.
Buzz. That's also on Apple Buzz Forum.
Consensual.
Yeah, if you have over a 2-hour dinner at Applebee's after our podcast is over,
Yeah.
fartcast.
Yeah.
That's up.
You become a host of your very own podcast.
Just make sure to record it.
Yeah, it's a call-in fart podcast.
First time, long time.
Hosted by Colin Fart.
I got a straw so I wouldn't choke on water this time.
Smart.
I guess as far as that, flossed once, exercised once, washed my hair, not enough.
Yeah.
But I did listen to. I had kind of like a weird week. I've been waiting for this raise at my job for about 10 months. They did finally give it
You
to
did
me,
it.
Yeah.
which is great. I also did call for the first time ever in 15 years to get my hair cut professionally alone. So that'll be an experience.
Yeah.
Looking forward to next Saturday with Samantha.
Without even a hairdresser.
Without even a hairdresser. I'm just gonna show up to it.
Yeah, I'm just going to do my first professional haircut.
I called
alone.
myself. It's gonna be great. But I did listen to this podcast. It's called the Maybe I shouldn't even say it. I don't want it to get more listens than
If it's on Apple Buzz, you can say it.
Okay, I think it is. It's
Okay.
called The Hilarious World of Depression, I
Yeah.
think. And the theme music is not good.
Not like ours.
No, it's not. It's bad. But I did listen to it. It's basically like famous people come on and talk about their depression. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's like our little brother podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys. Whenever I'm bummed out, I listen to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me and take a shower. I don't know if it's really lame, but I love it. I like when Mo Rocca's on and Paula Poundstone.
Oh, Paula
And-
Poundstone's the best.
Oh, she's great. She's a fucking riot.
That was one of my favorite. Like as a kid,
Yeah.
I remember watching like her stuff on like the Comedy Channel.
I like that you wear
and that would
suits.
just be, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Her crowd work is incredible too. Like
She's
that was
great.
such a long chunk of it.
I like her stutter.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's awesome.
she got burned from
So-
a Pop Tart. It's a great story. Like she's great. Like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking
Paula
love her.
Poundstone, we hope you get a show just like Joel McHale.
Yep. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But yeah, so I listened to this nice podcast and, I was feeling kind of like bummed out. But Peter Sagal was the guest on this podcast and he was talking about how they're like, and how this type of therapy that he does. And it's essentially just, he loves parks and recreation. And that's what he does when he's really bummed out is he just like binge watches Parks and Recreation. I'm like, I do the same thing. And then
They're
there's-
just like us.
they're just like us, celebrities, Peter
and
Sagal.
Peter
Sagal?
Sagal, yeah, he played Gollum.
Oh, he did?
Not in the movie, but yeah.
off Broadway.
At a party I was at.
But it was great though. And then he talked about how like I distract myself all the time with TV and podcasts, movies, anything. And if I don't do it, then I get really bummed out. And I always thought that was a bad thing. But then they had this guy, one of Peter Sagal's friends, come on and talk about how distractors do better. So people who distract themselves from their depression and their anxiety tend to be like happier people than people who ruminate on the things that they're upset about.
I feel like that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
Yeah.
When you
Like,
ruminate
yeah.
on it, you tend to isolate yourself.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's like a big thing. And so is this like neuroscientist, I believe his name's David Levitin. And it was great. And so I was just like, cool, that was nice to hear. But as everything else, I wrote down that I felt like a feral, wide-eyed woman frozen with panic.
Yeah,
Each
Joan
and every
Crawford.
day.
Joan Crawford. Yeah.
That's me
You
every
wrote
day.
sophisticated too, right?
I wrote sophisticated,
Yeah.
very sophisticated.
Very sophisticated though.
Clothes, always ironed.
Always
Loves
ironed.
wire
Oh,
hangers.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan.
Huge fan.
Big gardening fan.
Also came up with my new catchphrase, I'm not lazy, I'm anxious. So,
That's good.
and I have been, let's see, let's get to the meat of this. Oh my God. I'm also thinking about going on medication.
Me too.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be able to talk about that.
Yeah.
I have an appointment with my psychiatrist on the 9th, and I told myself last year that if like I still don't feel better doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, and I still am just dipping up and down constantly, that like medication is a thing that I need to consider. And both my parents take medication, and I just talked to my mom about it, and she was just like, you know what, I've been taking medication since like 1997 and I feel like myself again and I feel better. And she had a lot of anxiety when me and my brother were growing up, especially like having 2 little kids, and
Yeah.
it was rough. There's a thing that we can get into another time, but my parents have a theory about why I'm such a stressed out person, and the part of it is that a bunch of stressful things happened when my mom was pregnant with me, and cortisol levels mess with like a baby and can turn into like adults with like more severe anxiety and depression. Not to blame them. I love who I am as a person. I'm just like, it was pretty much bound to happen, between genetics and all that. And then what was the last thing I was going to say? Sorry. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, the last thing I was going to say. I have a Groundhog Day song. You know how in Groundhog Day where they play that Sonny and Cher song every morning when he wakes up,
yep.
and it always bums him out. Every day when I'm at work, they put on the radio and Goodbye Stranger comes on, and it bums me out to the point where like I get a little bit weepy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I gotta go take a lap. So I give myself a C.
Yeah.
C/B minus. You know, I'm kind of cusping it. It was a weird fucking week. I'm glad it didn't snow. That was throwing me into like a huge. I get so depressed when it snows. I don't know what to do about it, and I just sit in my house and go insane. So yeah. It was a fine week.
Good.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Nice
buddy.
level. Here we go.
Eric had a hard week.
Yeah. So, from the last part, the last one that will be posted soon.
Yeah,
It'll
we gotta
be
stop
posted
saying
before
that.
this. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
posted.
The
If you're
one that's
hearing
already
this one,
posted,
you already heard the last one.
you know the top listened to podcast. Our one, which is the last one. Tremendous ratings for it.
Great ratings.
But I had mentioned, and we met up on Sunday, and jokingly, but also like seriously, we talked about like cat cremation or possible stuff like that. And my cat Roman was it seemed like he was not doing well. And then when I went home on after that, I hung out with him and I watched him really just over from the beginning of that day until later on in just all through the night, just get worse, like just very weak. So I was like on the floor with him, like, you know, slept with my bud. Took him to the vet the next day. They got blood work done, gave him some stuff to like eat, and then brought him home. I had a very stressful time with paying. It was a weird thing with my card, like, so that was like that added to this like whole thing because they were like, you owe, like, thanks for bringing him in. We'll let you know. Take him home. Give him this. We gave him this. That's $300. And I was like, okay. And then I gave him my card, and then they were like, your card's declined. And I was like, okay. I have $90 on me now because I didn't know what the price was going to be. And then so I had to like go. I went to the bank. They were like, your card's all set. And then I tried calling back, and then they were like, it's declined again. And I was like, what? And so I walk to the bank to. I'm sorry, this is drawing out, but this is like
No,
added
it's
to,
all
this is
part of
added to
it.
this. So then I was like, oh, okay, it's a new card. I have to go activate it. So then I went to an ATM, took money out. Was like, the card's working. Went back home, called. Card got declined again. So then I like walked to my bank to like be like, okay, I used another ATM. That was, I have to use probably like a DCU or something like that and set it up. And so I went to my bank, did that, took a little cash out, definitely working, went home, called, card declined. And then I called the number on the back of the card, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And they were like, it's all set. Thanks. Have a good day. And then called, accepted. And I was like, yay! Now my dying cat.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and so, or didn't know what was wrong with him, but so like just, you know, tried to get him to eat, all that night on Monday, just worse, just no skinny, just like just was moving less, call on Tuesday and they were like, bring him in, like he needs a blood transfusion at least. That's what we got from the initial blood test. And so I was like, okay. And so I was like panicking, trying to find a ride for that. And then ended up taking him to a place in North Grafton. And my landlord gave me a ride there. And she's wonderful for doing so. And
Did
she
you go
was
to Tufts?
Yeah, Tufts, the foster for small animals.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
We
yeah.
used to
Oh,
have
no worries.
A
Yeah.
friend who worked there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great place.
It was. And this was, well, this is the thing is like, my landlord, Ann, a wonderful lady, and she very much helped me out, like, in the scenario, and I was so grateful that she was there, but her tact, like, for, like, relating to people is just, like, not the best.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're in the car, and, like, we're driving there to give my cat a blood transfusion, and he's meowing, which I'm happy about, because he's usually a noisy cat, but he's been very quiet over the past 2 days, and this is, like, the most he's meowing, because he's in the car and afraid, and so I'm, like, feeling bad, but I'm also like, hey, he's like, Like, hey, there he is. But then she's just like, oh, you're going here? Like, I took my dog here, and they tried to get me to pay for a bunch of stuff, so, like, I don't know. I don't really like this place that much. And I was like, well, all right. Like,
That's a thing for me
I
to
guess
consider.
turn it around. Like, we're going to take him home. Never mind. But, but once again, I am so appreciative that she came. And then during the whole process of that, of everything that happened, it was so nice that she was there. So then I took him in, and they brought him in the back, and then we went into a room and we sat down. And then as soon as the lady came out, she came out, and they didn't bring Roman back in the room. She came and she sat down. And it was just like, and I was like, oh, I don't like where this is going. And then so she said, and this was she was like, first off, he has 5th stage cancer.
Damn.
Whoa. Like, and so that was like, okay, like huge wave. And then she mentioned the fact, she said, she listed 2 other things that I do not know what it was, but it was lengthy, not good sounding things of that, like nodding of just like, I don't know what that is, but that sounds low, like yeah. And then and the last thing, and so it was like 4 things in total. Like he has fluid in his lungs and his belly, and so she mentioned the fact that, and I was very appreciative of, like, her honesty, her candor. They were all very great there. And she was like, if you got the most expensive treatment, like if we went all out, gave him the best chemotherapy that's available, he would maybe last a month. And so, and he would, feel better than he's feeling now, and then loop back into this again. So then it's like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And so euthanasia was unfortunately the option, the best possible for quality of life.
Yeah.
So then went into a room, and then they brought him in, sat him down, and they do this thing where they inject 4 shots. Like one's like a flush, then one's like there's one thing, then there's a flush, then yeah, doesn't matter. 4 things.
Yeah.
And she's like, as soon as we start, you can't stop.
Yeah.
On the 3rd one, he goes unconscious, and then the 4th one's the final one. And so they did it. And as soon as the first one's in, I held him.
Yeah.
You have your choice to be in the room, and he was a terrified cat in general, so I was like, no, I can't have him alone in a room with people he doesn't know or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, second one in, it's just like in your head, just like, no, stop it, but you can't. And then the 3rd one, he relaxed, and that was, and then they do the 4th one, and it sucked, but there was part of it where I was like, oh, when he relaxed, I was like, this, I can feel him calm. And that was like, this is great. And I handled it pretty well until I picked him up a bit, and then that was the dead weight.
Yeah.
And so that was they're like, oh, take him away.
Yeah.
Oh, so we can do the horns now. So this is the first cry on the crying gang. Yeah, and then they do a little paw print. I decided to get him cremated, and then went home, dealt with my other cat, Janet. Didn't deal with it the best. Well, she was very adorable, but she started running to his hiding spots, and she's usually a very quiet cat, and she was meowing, and so it was she knows. And then so it was just sort of was dealing with that for that week, which was the roughest. And I know a lot of people, because there are people out there, we talked monsters who are just oh, it's a cat. And I understand that concept. I can't, especially if you have never had a pet. I can get that concept where you're what?
Yeah.
It's a pet. it dies. You do sign that contract when you get a pet into your life. But especially, I mean, for myself, and I think as any pet owner, I'm not gonna be like, well, my relationship was more special than mine. But the idea where maybe not so for Roman, but for myself, my life had a big, over the past 10 years that I had him, a lot of ups and downs of like, you know, relationships gone, people in and out of my life. But him and Roman, him and Janet, my cats, have been the only consistency that I have had in like the past decade. And so it was like, it was losing a rock.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's weird thing, like I was telling you outside, where it's like, you know, like in the process of dealing with it, like it's little things like that'll get you, like where it's like, especially in like, you know, the first few days in the week or whatever, where it's like out of the peripheral, I wouldn't notice. Like it was like, oh, like he'd be sitting here, and then like how quiet the apartment was because he annoyed the shit out of me because he just would meow all like, and like one, like if Roman could talk, I still think he'd only say one word, and it would be "Hey!" Like it just would have been it. That would have been it. And but I was just saying to Jen, it was like one of those things where it's like the weird things that you miss, where it's just like I remember crying like when I got home and just being like, I called Jane, a friend of mine who knew Roman very well, and it's just like, who's gonna watch me take a shit now? Like, it's like door shut wouldn't matter. Like I could put like something in there to try and block him. He would pound it down and then come run, like park it right in front of me and just be like, "Hey!" Like, so it's stuff like that that's like the roughest to get with, and then it's been a couple weeks. Then this past week, I had a bunch of things that, like, you know, it puts things in perspective, really, where like two sets of devastating news that are just like, where it's like, yeah, like Roman's gone. This is a very sad thing. Other things are going on. Like a friend of mine, girlfriend passed away. She was sick, but it was still an unexpected quick pass. And another friend of mine who I used to be in a band with found out that he has cancer, and he found out that the chemo is not taking, so he only has a longest couple months left. So and as I was saying to Matty T, it's one of those scenarios where I'm glad I got this news a week after, even though it's still like the big joke has been sort of be like, oh yeah, everything at once. Yeah. Just like, let's do it all. Yeah. Let's do it all. Like, but like getting the news of my friend's girlfriend and my friend himself. I'm so happy it's not the same person too, because that would have been like. But the idea is like, so happy it happened a week later, because then I would be going through so much guilt of being like, but my cat. Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, but like my cat, like, and so I'm gonna end with one little nice note. When I picked up Roman's ashes, I went with my mom, and they gave a little paw print of him, and it's like a very nice little thing. And on mine, they made it was on a heart. And the staff member, who was someone that I ended up knowing, which was nice and interesting, because she was like, I came in and she was like, Eric, hey, what are you doing? Oh, yeah. But she brought it out, and she was like, oh, they usually don't do the heart when like they do the paw print. And then my mom, who had like had a cat, and she was like, oh yeah, I got a circle when I came here. And I was just thinking, I was like, well, I cried a lot here. Yeah. I really have a feeling that, pretty much anybody who saw me that night who worked there was like, oh, that's like, I know the lady who came in to have me sign the form, I was in the room with me and just a Roman. And, like, when she walked in, and even though she knows what the room is and probably what to expect, she's like, still did an audible, like, oh, because I was just like, hey, buddy. Like, yeah, like, So I had that cry too, which we've been talking about. That build-up cry
Yeah.
that doesn't when it finally hits you.
Yeah.
It was there was a 2-day, and just breaking down. And I did have a very odd mania after that
Right.
because that was just
it emptied you out.
emptied, and then I was just like, nothing matters.
Yeah.
And then I got this other news. So I actually I don't even want to do an income. I just don't want to rate it.
That's fine, dude.
Incomplete.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just
I'm sorry.
I'm really
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say an income.
Or not an
I'm
incomplete,
gonna say
or
let's say I was suspended or I had a personal field trip. I got no.
Eric's family's got to
Yeah.
find a new school system. I'm sorry you went through that, buddy, and we love you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love you
And,
guys too.
obviously, if you
much.
need anything, just hit us up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A break.
Except not.
You
want a break right now?
Like a quick
All right, let's
break.
take a break.
We're sorry for your loss, Eric.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll go through this real quick. So, we're recording. We haven't stopped recording, I don't think. But so since today is the anniversary of my family suicide intervention for me, I'll talk about it real quick. But basically, what happened was, it was the end of winter time, like it is now, and I had been very depressed over the winter. And my mom called me, and she was telling me how she was also depressed over the winter, and she was sober when I spoke to her. And so I felt a weird, I felt like I should emotionally open up to my mom, which I don't usually because she has a hard time dealing with it. So I was like, oh yeah, I had a hard time too, man. It was a really dark winter for me, but I'm glad it's over. And so I felt good about it. And then a couple days later, my mom has a day off, which are the days that she drinks. And I just get a Facebook message from her about how much she loves me and cares about me and how I'm perfect and amazing and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have said anything to you. So then she calls me and just I just don't want anything to happen to you and I love you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Ma, I'm at work. I'm glad that you love me. I get it. Thank you. And I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have told her anything. So I hang up. So I don't know, but apparently this day she also called all of my family, including my uncle, who I rarely see, to tell them that I was in crisis and going to kill myself. Called my dad, and my dad was like, I don't want to offend you, but you're not the person he would call if he was reaching out and going to kill himself. It would definitely be me. And my mom got really mad about that, obviously. And
Why?
But also, I love my
No,
dad, and he
yeah.
didn't want to bum me out by calling me and telling me that happened.
Yeah.
So he didn't. So I didn't know.
Oh,
so
that's-
all I know is that
yeah,
my
that's
mom was worried about me. So then a few days later, my aunt calls me. I fucking love my aunt. It's my aunt. She's my godmother. It's my mom's youngest sister. Me and her daughter. My aunt was really young when she had her daughter, so we all grew up together basically. And it was my mom's sibling who she hung out with the most, and I love my aunt. And she calls me, she's like, dude, I got us Bruins tickets for Saturday, can you come, can you clear your schedule? And I was like, fuck yeah. And I'd never been to a Bruins game, and she knew that, and we're all gonna go to the Bruins.
Yeah.
So she's like, come to Lynn, where my family lives, come early and we'll have dinner together. So I walk in and everybody's already there, and my uncle's there, and everybody's looking fucked up and weird, and I'm like, oh no. Oh fuck no, what is this? And then everybody wants to talk about mental health suddenly, and I'm the center of this attention, and it's clearly this weird suicide intervention, and I'm I wasn't gonna kill myself. So all day, on top of this, all day we're driving around in my cousin's car, who I fucking love, with her boyfriend at the time, who had a lot of problems, and it was a very bad situation for her. But they were on their need gas light was on, and I was like, if you guys need, we'll pay for gas. It's $10. We can put it in and drive all day. And they're like, no, we drive around like this all the time. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So we go to the game. Everybody gets fucked up. My mom doesn't come with us. It's me, my aunt, my uncle. My uncle's sober, so he doesn't get fucked up. My aunt gets wrecked, unreal wrecked. My cousin and her boyfriend and his brother pick a fight with someone. Her boyfriend at the time and his brother were on and off again, opioid addicts. They pick a fight with someone. My aunts and uncle couldn't get seats with us, so they're sitting a few rows in front. And my aunt's hitting on these 20-year-old dudes, and she's just annihilated. We go to Kowloon's on Route 1 afterwards for dinner, and everybody's fucked up. And my aunt just starts attacking my cousin's boyfriend about his opioid addiction. So now my cousin's outside crying. Those two are fighting. I have to keep going in and out and chasing everybody and trying to mediate. It's insane. It's this insane thing. And then my aunt keeps trying to tell me how she loves me and she doesn't want me to kill myself while she's blackout drunk, while all this shit's going on, which is all the shit that makes me crazy about my family. It's why I don't go and see them. And so there's a cop on duty because it's like a Saturday night. It's this crappy Route 1 Chinese food place. And he's like, am I going to have to take your family out of here in handcuffs? And I was like, no, I got it. I'm making everybody leave. So I finally get everybody out. My aunt goes home. Like, my uncle picks her up and brings her home. Or whatever. I forget how she got home. I honestly don't. We drive.
One of those 21-year-olds.
Right. We drive and drop my cousin's boyfriend's brother off. And then they're like, hey, man, we're going to go... Do you want to keep hanging out? We're going to go to our friend's house, and we're going to go get some weed. Or we have to go back to the house to get weed, but then we're going to go hang out. And I was like, we're going back to your house anyway. I've had enough of the family for today.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave. Because I'm, like, emotionally traumatized. My suicide intervention is now a thing that makes me want to kill myself.
Yeah.
And so we get back to her apartment. She just, like, lets me in, and then they go to pick up weed, and I'm just going to lock up and leave. And I go upstairs and get... Because I had stayed at her house the night before, and I get my bags. So while I'm packing up my bags... I get a phone call from her. I, like, see it, and I'm like, should have let me buy you gas. And I answer, hey, I feel really bad, but we ran out of gas, and we're stuck at this stoplight, and we don't have any money, so now I have to go get them. They don't have a gas can, and they're far away from the gas station. So I have to go out of my way, get them, buy a gas can and a gallon of gas, go back to their car, put it in, and then bring them back to the gas station and pay for gas because they don't have any money for gas. So it ended up costing me even more money than it would have if I had just bought them gas to begin with earlier in the day. So that was today's the anniversary of my suicide intervention. And it's really funny now, but it was really not funny then.
Yeah. From the story, though, to be fair, it does sound like once you were at Kowloon's, that turned into someone else's intervention.
It was
so
an
it's
attempt.
Like your glorious special treatment stopped.
But not in the like friendly safe place intervention, but in the like always sunny we got you intervention.
It's also like an Arrested Development intervention. It was like, we got to talk to Maddie about mental health. Let's all have a drink.
It's just a classic how my family works, like because they just can't handle it, and it's just like, and because I'm such the emotional rock for all those people a lot of the time, like when the shit hits the fan, it's just like when I'm in crisis, they did it because they care about me, and I know that, but like also fuck all you people. I hope you're listening. Fuck you guys. That was embarrassing and awful. And like I spent so much of my childhood and early teen years with my cousin who I was talking about, just like apologizing for the behavior to strangers for the behavior of the generation that preceded us. Like, hey, sorry they're yelling at you and throwing trash at you and trying to fight you. I'm sorry they called you a cunt or whatever. Like it was a lot of that. Like you shouldn't be that embarrassed by the people who are supposed to be the adults.
Oh, I would love to have someone in your family who was there come here and recount their version of like, so we did this for Maddie.
He really needed it.
Like got mad at us.
But yeah, I guess so. That brief aside. Happy anniversary!
Still here.
Good job, buddy.
I did not kill myself.
So also, let's just say this. Their intervention worked.
I suppose I can't
You're
prove you
still
wrong.
here.
I mean, I had not attempted on my life and haven't since then, so I guess mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Everybody love you.
Let's piss him off so bad that he wants to get back at all of us. But it'll be so
By
hard.
living.
So
The best
many.
revenge is living well.
You start with the gas prank.
Yeah. It was just insane. It was just like such a microcosm of like what exactly is wrong with my family and why they drive me fucking nuts and why I rarely see any of them.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, let's get back into it. I guess we're going to do what made us cry this week. Archie, I vote you go first.
Okay, I will go first. What made me cry this week, and it was a well up, not a cry, but it could have so easily been like a nice cry. I got down a YouTube rabbit hole, like where you just start watching videos and you just get lost. And one of them was things that make people happy. And I was like, you know what? I want to watch that. Let me watch that. And it was just a bunch of like 10-second clips of little kids getting their first puppy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It was so wild. And then it was like also like soldiers coming home to like their kids and just like all these like really nice things. And I like had like just a really nice well up where I was like, I'm just so happy that they're all so happy.
Was it Omeletto?
I don't even know what that is.
Omeletto is like a YouTube thing where it's like they're like short, like mini documentaries, like probably about like 2.5-3 minutes long, and the topics of them are either like that style of like I'm so happy or like the most depressing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's one with an old lady who just she goes to the rec center, the community center, and when she goes home, they're like, "What do you do with your day?" And she was like, "You're gonna laugh, but I take the newspaper and I rip it into small pieces of paper, and then I throw it away." Yeah, because she's like, I can't see, I can't hear very well, and like the only thing I do is the community. So you love the community center, so that makes you really happy. But like the scene of her on her couch in a dark room, just
Oh God.
That made me just well up a
I
little
think
bit.
that's the rest of our.
Yeah. Well, we all just almost cried this week.
Yeah.
Jen, you want to go next?
Yeah,
You don't have to.
no, I
Hesitation.
will. But I'm just thinking. I'm like, I have a really good one about. I don't know if I did it last week, but it's that one that I talked about in episode 1, where I was like, I can't talk about it. It's too much.
The one you didn't talk about.
The one that I did not
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about, but still, I explained it to someone this week, and it made me cry. But I bet I won't be able to find it. So I will do. I'll just do the one that made me cry this week. And it's a Great Clips review.
A what?
So Great Clips is like a super cut.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like grape
Grape Clips.
clips.
Yeah, clips of grapes.
The people who brought you grape flavored coffee.
Why would you do that? It's so nice. So I was like,
Keep your raisins closed with grape clips.
Grape Clips. Makes me cry every time. But so I.
Go on, I'll just laugh until I cry over you.
So I need a haircut really badly, and so a few weeks ago, the lady who most recently cut my hair is very sweet. I wasn't sure if she was on maternity leave or not, so I was looking for like alternative places because I look like a little bit like a witch most days. Like, luckily, I recently showered today. It's very much managed, but like it's real witchy. And so I was like looking through like reviews, and I love reading reviews. They have there's reviews for everything. There's great reviews for Sing Sing Prison in New York. People were like, food's not bad. I'm like, I love reviews.
I would love to see the 5 stars.
Some people were like,
Yeah,
5 stars.
I've had a great time.
I've been to a lot of prisons. This is the best one.
The best.
Great turlet wine. So this one, I don't know why this made me upset, but here we go. 1 star from a year ago, Mr. Patel. I've always been at this Great Clips and have never had a single problem. But today, one lady named, all caps, Catherine, who cut my hair, was, all caps, so rude and had no manners on how to talk to customers. She had headphones in the whole time while she was cutting my hair, and I had to repeat everything as she was not really paying attention. She kept getting mad when I told her how I wanted my hair cut. I did not like the haircut service provided. Very disappointed. All caps. All the other people that work here are super nice, and I've never had a problem with any of them. That's how I read that originally.
Oh, man.
And I was just like, this poor guy. I don't know what it is about, like, just anyone in a vulnerable situation just, like, makes me tear up. And I was just like, all I wanted was a fucking 10-minute haircut.
Yeah,
and Catherine couldn't give it to him.
Does he say he's an old man?
No, but I'm assuming.
Okay, I just love the idea of an old man doing that too, because it's just like, what forum can I tell people?
It took me 3 hours to find this to type it out.
I found this interweb site, and I'm very
I'm going to
excited.
let everyone know not to get their hair cut by Catherine. But I just think that it's really mean that she had headphones in the whole time.
That is
I
really,
think that's,
really
Yeah,
shitty.
that's
it's really shitty. It's like, come on, man. Like,
I would be pumped, as we talked about
Yeah,
earlier.
I would be
all I
pumped.
want
That's
is
my
someone to
dream.
cut my hair and not talk to me.
And I could just go in there and be like, hey, baby, you put in any kind of
I'm going to put in my
headphone you
headphones
want.
too.
I'm
Just
gonna
tell
put
me
in
what
my
you're
headphones.
doing the ears
Tell
so
me-
I can
Yeah,
pull
no,
them out.
the headphones really seems like it should be the person getting the haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Although it would leave a weird. Like,
If you go over the ear.
I like Eric still has over-the-head headphones. Everybody else is using earbuds.
Yeah, where they had to cut
well,
around.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
move them.
My ears are 2 different sizes. And the earbuds
These
don't work.
These earbuds just don't plug into my Sony Walkman from '92. right, Eric, how about you? I think we
Uh,
talked a little bit
I
about
think.
some
Well,
things
I
that
mean,
made you
like
cry.
mine was like what? Like
And we're doing the most recent one. This podcast
it's like
made you
10
cry
minutes
10
ago.
minutes.
Oh.
So yeah, I'll pass because it was 10 minutes ago.
You had a,
yeah.
you had a big emotion
Yeah,
there.
yeah. We heard the horns. We all heard the horns.
So I had this moment this week. I'm in this, like, we talked about it before. I don't want to go into too much right now, but I'm in this, like, potential dating thing with this person that I like, and we're, like, still trying to figure it out. But my brain all week decided that I'm going to try to sabotage it, which is a thing I often do, because, like, any type of possibility of potential is just, like, terrifying, because then it means I'm going to have to deal with all my hang-ups and past trauma and all that shit with sex and relationships and all that, and which is another thing we haven't, like, addressed yet, but have talked about off mic, which we should talk about soon.
Yeah.
But so, like, on Tuesday night, I hung out with this person Monday into Tuesday, and then Tuesday night, like, it ended with, like, hey, we should have a talk. We should, like, go out this weekend and have a talk and, like, figure out what this is before, because we're friends, so, like, it's always, like, that risky, like, if we go down this road,
Yeah,
we
there's-
probably will not be friends by the end of it, is a likely thing. So we should, like, seriously
Yeah.
consider this.
yeah, the
And,
percentage. Yeah, like
And so I spent all day Tuesday just thinking of ways to sabotage it. My brain was just having an anxious week, and it was like I said, everything was good, but it was just like my brain really trying to, like, pick it apart, find reasons why I'm the worst and she's the worst, and, like, it became such a frustrating loop that I was in that, like, I, like, welled up and literally out loud said, "What the fuck is wrong with me?" So that was my borderline cry, and then I tried to do what I talked about before, but, like, I felt like I was on the edge of the big cry, so I, like, tried to go headlong into it and, like, get it. Like, I wanted the cry, and my body just, like, my butthole puckered up, and it just swallowed it right down.
yeah, it's the same. It's when you want it. Oh, be damned! You're not fucking getting it.
I haven't had a
did
real cry.
I did
in,
not
like,
want my, like,
Yeah.
2-day, like, but it's so funny. It's like, and afterwards too. It's like you do, like, I didn't feel that much better, but, like, you do feel better.
Yeah, there's like
I'm crying more
ease of
than,
your chest and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're crying about more than just
It gets rid of that tension.
the main thing, like other things come
Right.
up
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. And I know I need it, and I, like, have it
yeah.
pent up for 10 years.
Honestly,
at
It's
this
so
point.
frustrating, when that comes and you're like, "Here we go,
I'm
like,
gonna do it.
There
And
we,
then
I
it's just
got
like,
it."
nope.
But it's your excitement, it's your
Yeah.
slight excitement for it.
The
which is gonna
endorphin
stop it.
rush is like,
yeah,
wow.
like, whoosh.
Fuck.
You, like, get the chin quiver.
Yeah.
But the way that if I ever feel like I'm like, okay, I am very upset, and I feel like if I don't do something like crash my car, light my house on fire, like I need some sort of, like, physical release from a thing, I'll totally go down that rabbit hole of YouTube. And I have a very particular favorite, which is the elderly being given puppies.
Oh, yeah.
wow.
And
yeah.
I just fucking cry and cry, and it's best when no one else is home, so I can just be as loud as I want. So I would,
I'll try it next time.
Yeah.
Google it.
I often watch.
Give it. It's worth a Google.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work for you, a little more heartbreaking one is if you watch, they give the elderly soldiers returning from war. And that one, oh boy, will
It's
get
real
you.
weep.
That'll
Yep.
get you, like, every time.
They
best
just
is when-
release a bunch of
The best is when they return with a puppy.
Oh yeah.
To the
Oh,
elderly.
it's the best.
Yeah, that one.
Rescue this from
It followed me home from Afghanistan.
I walked.
I walked home, and this thing the whole way. I was like, "Get out of here!"
We were about to have a
Get outta here.
shootout in Baghdad, and the enemy insurgents just came and handed us puppies, and we shook hands of peace.
They put
It was
puppies-
like Silent Night in World War One.
Yeah, they stopped at the dogs.
I know. Yeah.
Yep.
Puppy.
Yay!
I know it's messed up, but I'm just imagining, like, you know that stupid Pepsi commercial where they put sunflowers in the barrel of the gun?
Oh my,
They
yeah.
just try to fit puppies in the barrel of the gun. Yeah.
Here.
They can only get, like, a little paw in there, so it's kind of
It's similar
precarious.
to the
Like,
yeah.
you
Dangling.
put the tail in first.
Yeah,
It's like trying to thread a needle.
Lick the
They
tail
lick the tail?
first. I think the idea too is, well, they probably didn't do that because it really looks like you're sacrificing a
Yeah.
puppy.
Shoot the puppy,
Which I don't.
Well, puppies are the best silencer also.
Yeah, you can hardly hear a bullet through a puppy. Oh.
Sorry, everybody. We don't endorse shooting puppies.
Yeah.
I just laughed so
love
hard
my
all
puppy.
my burps came out.
No, I want every pet to go after what I went through.
Eric's starting a road revenge movie where
yeah.
he kills all of the other pets.
Oh my goodness.
Looking at you, Bella. The
So we
dog.
set goals for ourselves the last time
I'm
we
the
recorded.
opposite of John Wick.
Yeah.
Also, no one fucking told me.
About what? John Wick?
John Wick.
Oh, it's so
And
good, right?
It's really good, but I was like,
About the dog dying?
Abdul was like, "Oh, there's a thing in there about a dog," and I said, "You know that I will not watch a movie where a dog dies."
Yeah.
And he was just like, "It's okay. It gets better. Like it's fine." And then like the whole time I was just like laying in what I call my invalid bed, which
Yeah.
is the little day bed in the living room. We were watching John Wick, and I was like, "I fucking hate you, Abdul." I was like, you could hear them
I
kicking
wish
him.
John Wick was here and he killed you.
I wish he was here and he fucking assassinated you for making me watch this.
Those movies are fucking awesome.
They're so
Yeah,
good.
they're great.
So fucking
I haven't
Yeah.
seen this. Well, I haven't seen the second one yet.
It's awesome.
So, yeah.
They kill his dog.
It took
And
me
then he
like.
goes and fucking kills everybody.
Wait, they kill his
I
new
haven't seen-
dog?
well, I haven't
Wait,
seen-
I haven't
Oh wait, no, the house blows up and then you guys haven't seen John Wick 2?
No, that's what I'm
He
saying.
gets
yeah.
the new dog and it looks like they're gonna kill his dog again, but then they don't. Like he gets blown up, but the dog doesn't die.
Thank
okay.
God. I can deal with property damage.
But he fucking kills everybody.
Good, good.
Yeah. It's really cool. And Lawrence Fishburne is this homeless pigeon keeper who also runs all these weird homeless gang. And John Wick needs to get a gun because he's been like separated from the assassins organization for whatever because he got revenge. And so he like has to go beg Lawrence Fishburne, who used to be a hitman maybe, but it just runs this like spy network of homeless people, to get a gun. It's really fucking cool. It's great.
Sounds great.
That whole world is awesome, like the weird hitman world they made
Yeah.
with like the hotel and everything.
Yeah.
Like I fucking love that kind of weird world building where it's like, here's this world you didn't know existed right along ours, and it's like really bizarre and like everybody should know about it because it's this huge hotel.
seems
that-
like
I
a
would
big
stay
deal,
at that
like, yeah.
hotel,
But,
but
like-
they wouldn't let me because I'm a baby.
yeah, they wouldn't. They'd be like, how many people have you killed today? Do you have any gold doubloons to pay us with?
Like, no, all I did was cry into all the food I ate in bed.
I'm like, sorry, you gotta go.
Not enough.
You're not allowed to shoot each other or
almost,
cry in the Continental.
I'll be honest too. I almost. It was real tough not to John Wick up the foster hospital for small animals.
You killed my cat with bad news.
Pew, 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 pew.
How dare you do your jobs?
I know, yeah. Very well. You were all great people, and I really appreciate your service.
I appreciate people with bullets.
I know, yeah.
So real quick before we launch into Archie stuff, we gotta talk about how we all failed at our goals that we set for ourselves last week. So I'll start this time. So I went to do I was supposed to do a chapter of my anxiety book a week. I did one in the last 3 weeks. There was only one worksheet that I had to fill out. So literally, of my goal of doing 3 chapters and doing all the worksheets, what I did do was read a chapter.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big margin of failure for me. I read very fast. To be honest, I read the chapter in about a half an hour. I definitely could have finished, but I did not.
It's okay.
That's fine. I'm very disappointed, but
I'm
it's
disappointed in me.
Fine. Yeah.
Eric, how did you do with not smoking?
Yeah, well, we talked on Sunday. I took my cat to the vet, had a problem paying, and bought a pack of cigarettes
Immediately.
immediately.
then had
So
a
that was
bad couple
Monday.
weeks.
Yeah, the analogy I gave to you two through our one of our last group text messages.
Sorry again.
Was trying to quit smoking. I was basically like a toddler winging toilet training. Like, I'm just gonna wing it. Like, I got this.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah. So yeah, shit everywhere. I took a break and just smoked.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's all right, buddy.
So-
It's tough.
Yeah, yeah.
And you had a tough couple weeks. I
Yep.
forgive you.
Thank you
I'm
very
not
much.
disappointed in you
Yeah.
like you're disappointed in me.
Yeah.
It's just because I'm a better person.
It really is. You're better. I'm much more disappointed in myself than you on that aspect.
No, it's okay,
Yeah.
man. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
This was not the
that's a
time to
stress
try to
out.
It's like-
smoking.
No.
Especially too, is like you think of just like when you're crying, you're like, oh, I gotta look fucking cool.
Yeah.
Somehow, like, yeah.
Yeah, even when you're
So just
crying,
think-
if you're smoking a cigarette, you look fucking
Still
Yeah,
cool.
They'll think
Yeah.
I'm just stoned.
That's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Uncontrollable tears.
Yeah.
Jen, how did your
How was
goal
yours?
of being more assertive go?
Not at all.
Great.
Not me, nor anyone else is ready for me to be assertive. tried it a little bit, like when you're maybe trying to make like a suggestion of what you want to eat to someone, but you don't really know, and you're hoping that they'll say it before you. It didn't. It was just didn't happen.
Yeah.
I did try a couple of times to tell my boss, like, "Hi, this project that you were handed down for us to do is like a really shitty, like, it's shitty and it's stupid and it's futile, and us doing this will make everything worse."
Yeah.
And she was just like, I know, just do it anyway.
I know.
And so I was just like, maybe you weren't the person to start with.
Nope.
And then I kind of just fell off, and then the whole week was just, or the whole, since the last time I saw you guys, was just, instead of me asking people for help, it was just me doing all the things that I do, because part of being assertive is not doing everything yourself. So it's fucking sucked. I didn't speak up for myself, not once. I mean, I one time ordered a Miller High Life at a restaurant, and they gave me a Long Island iced tea, and I just was wasted all day because I felt bad.
That is a large gap.
Yeah.
Wow.
High life, please. Oh, she wants to live the high life.
I get it. Yeah. Millionaire drink.
Yeah.
Understood.
I could have decided if you meant this or a cosmopolitan, so I went with the Long Island.
Yeah, I'll just have a vodka
Well, I did just take
enema.
my tips training to be a bartender, and they did said the secret code to give someone a Long Island iced tea is when they say, "I'd like to live the high life."
I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
But that's the best analogy for my life, is asking for one thing, being given the wrong thing, and me just dealing
Yeah,
with
just
it.
like,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we all failed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were going to skirt over it, but it's important.
Yeah.
that
We
let
talked
you
about not
know.
doing this, but we want to be accountable, and yes, we're accountable. We all failed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to set new goals for ourselves?
I mean, yes, eventually, of course.
Yeah.
But
Let's
we'll think about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
at the end, we'll think
Yeah.
of our
Yeah.
our new goals.
But I guess that ends this segment. So now we're going to talk
Yeah.
about Archie's
Thanks very much for being here,
bullshit.
Archie. Like,
Bye,
that was the
Archie.
show.
Thanks for
Get
sharing. We can't use any of that stuff Archie said, right?
Yeah.
So we should probably cut it
all
now.
bad.
All right. Well, good. Thanks for coming out, Archie. No, but seriously, Archie, you're a mess. Let's talk about it.
Okay. So, first of all, just thanks again for like letting me talk to you guys about this. This has been a blast so far, and I just like really
course, man.
appreciate
Yeah,
Thanks
we're
for
so
being
happy
here.
you're
to do
here.
this. So I was trying to put like a thesis statement together to like kind
at
of
you.
comprehend, to let people like know.
He's working on his
overall.
doctorate.
Yeah. I'm not.
in podcast.
I don't want to. I don't want
Huge
to.
shirt folding at Newberry Comics.
So I guess an overall statement is that I have been, currently am, probably will be going through a battle with obsessive compulsive disorder that takes the form of a crippling fear of germs, and then coupled with that, the way my OCD also appeared was through like, an eating disorder.
Yeah.
Yep. So like the idea of just like calories and working out and, like I said earlier, like routine, and it all kind of just nestled really nice together.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
And
yeah.
you deal with a
for-
generalized anxiety disorder also, right? Like,
yeah, and I just had exactly, just
Yeah, I do too.
overall, overall just the social anxiety of just like today. I put in my notes today that I had a fear that even my inadequacies were like too inadequate to be a part of this group.
Oh, no.
I'm actually, if it makes you feel any better, I'm like, why aren't I bringing this kind of material to this podcast that I'm a host of?
It's like, I hope I'm like cool enough. But yeah, so just like generally, just
I
like
hope I'm bummed out.
no, and
It's like the coolest goth club.
and the thing about OCD, and I think you talked about this on the overview episode, and it fucking kills me, is that in today's society, people think that it is like trendy or cool to say they have OCD.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
they like to kind of, it's like, oh, my highlighters weren't like from hot colors to warm colors. I have OCD, and people think that they're like a mystery because of that, or it gives them like a cool like edge.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell them that it's like fucking crippling. It's like it's not cool, and it's like really like a struggle, and like
Yeah.
I just
Can I tell the window story just to put it in perspective?
Yeah.
So like Archie has it's weird how like things trigger you, right? Because I've like seen you hang out in really dirty places and they just don't trigger you, but other things do, and that's just how mental illness works. But the other day we were at band practice and we opened the window because it was hot, and Archie was closest to the window. We were all leaving and we hadn't shut the window, and Archie panicked, was like, nobody shut the window yet, but was like too sketched out by the germs to physically touch and close the window, so I had to go back into the room and close it for him, even though he was 2 feet away from it. And we like gave you a hard time about it. I felt a little bit bad, but that's just the nature of being buds and hanging
Exactly.
out.
Exactly.
We're talking that band space is not a safe space.
Sure isn't.
When it comes from certain people, it's like all love, and I totally get that. But sometimes it does not come from people who I'm friends with, and it's not love, and it's very upsetting.
Well, I can speaking like from the idea that I can see how much OCD meshing with eating disorder just works so well.
Yeah, because it's all about exercise and
because
control.
when I've gone through it's a thing that it's forever. Like it's I've had experiences with anorexia, bulimia, body dysmorphia, and they pop back in and out.
Yeah.
For myself personally, but like when I went through the strongest anorexia phase that I went through was in high school. I remember being 120 and like being so pissed at myself because I was like I couldn't be 115.
Couldn't crank into the teens.
Couldn't crank into the teens, and that was like to me like healthy weight. But at that time, the only thing I want like to mention briefly about that was like the amount I was working out was so insane. It's the best ritual thing that I have ever had in my life. When I was like I guess neck deep in like this process of like, but it's like that was the time where it's like I had my shit together. Where it's just like I went to work, and then when I went home, this is what I do. Like I have this, and it wasn't even a question like of like this is like the set process of the workout. Out of curiosity, when did yours, not obviously you don't know an official date, but when did you start noticing issues with that?
So I have like a general timeline of it, and the eating disorder came first, and then the germophobia came after that. So it was like I guess the eating disorder was how I broke into the mental illness world. And so in college, so in high school, I've always been big, always been a bigger guy. I grew up big, like never limited myself. And in college, I was up to 263 pounds. Like pushing the 270.
And you're short.
And just so people who don't know me or can't see me, I'm only 5'5". So it was a lot in a short package, right? And so, and in college, there's no rules with eating. And I remember like
I didn't even go to college. Absolutely, I know that rule.
With the drinking, like with the drinking and the eating and just the not exercising, it's just like happens very fast. And I would go home for the summer, work. I'd be like, I'm gonna exercise, and then you go back and you put it back on, right? But there was one time where I just like wasn't exercising anymore and just gaining weight. And senior year peaked at like the 260s. And so when I graduated from college, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to lose some weight. It's time. Like I need to do that because I feel like I missed out a lot socially because I was like in the shell, like just not appreciating like who I was.
Also, you were probably anxious then too, and so
100%.
You start exercising this control over your physical form. And it's like pleasing to your brain.
Exactly. So I remember the first run I ever went on, I didn't set ridiculous expectations. I just wanted to start exercising. So I ran the length of my street, which is maybe like it's like less than a quarter mile. It's like here to a stop sign. I was like, if you can just do that without stopping, then just add on a little bit, okay? And so I started to do that, and then I was like, okay, like now let's just like eat a little less. So I would like substitute like going out for like some chicken breast and stuff. Like, I ate a lot of chicken breast and like pita pockets, and I would gradually add on distance to the run, and eat the same things every day, and it started to make a pattern. And what I thought was a nice, healthy pattern was becoming the start of what would be like ritualistic behavior.
Yeah.
So the weight started to fall off, which is really, a good, positive, like brain thing.
And you're hearing it a lot, like,
Yeah.
like, hey man, you look
Yeah,
great.
I'm getting
Yeah.
I'm getting so much new attention from like people want to be friends now, and like I've always had like a funny like personality, and like I never had a problem making friends, but now like girls are like noticing you for like the first time and stuff like that. And so I was like, cool, I need to keep doing this. So I would like tack on miles. It became like my runs became like miles and miles and miles. So on every Saturday I would run 10 miles at a certain point, and I had to do it. And the eating, but I never changed my diet to where I was like exercising and not giving myself the nutrients and protein that I needed to like, recover and stuff like that. I was just eating less and less and less because the numbers kept going down and down and down. And I was like, great, the lower it goes, the better I'm going to feel, and everyone's going to like me, and it's going to be great. So it's like it took me a year to do it. I lost like 150 pounds over like a long period. Like I didn't just like crash and that was it. Like, it took a long period of time. But then towards the end of it, the skinniest I ever got was 123 pounds.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I will never forget. I was at a party, and I was at a party, and we were drinking, and I went to the bathroom, and they had a scale. I was like, let me step on the scale real quick. I just want to see what I weigh. And it was 123, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's like, what is this 3 pounds? Just be 120.
Yeah, it's...
Keep in mind, my original goal was to be 150, because that's like roughly like like a healthy weight, and I hit that, and I was like, great, no, do more. And so I started working out every day of the week, and I would have to do a cardio machine, burn 1,000 calories, not 999. Like burn
like,
1,000.
It's very specific. It's fun. Like the round number is a very, very important thing in the workout. Like,
I ate the same meal every day: breakfast, bowl of cereal. With skim milk, because I have lactose intolerance, so like I have a little bit of skim milk, and that's like as much as I can tolerate.
Yeah.
Lunch, and I had a job too, right? So I was taking my rituals places. Lunch was 4 baby carrots, 3 sticks of celery, and a half can of tuna with like a little bit of hot sauce for flavor.
Yeah.
And that was lunch every day, no budging. That was it.
Yeah.
Dinner, chicken or like some sort of like meat, but like a little bit with like onions, peppers, cabbage, like a lot of like low calorie vegetables to make it seem like you have a shit ton of food on your plate, but you actually don't really. You have a ton of vegetables. And so I was burning about half of my caloric intake when I work out per day. So I was probably taking in maybe like, I don't know, 400 to 500 calories a day.
And that is not what your body needs.
Yeah, that's not what you. That is not
that
what
is
you
like
need.
the amount. Like probably a cat.
But I was
needs about 400 like, calories a day.
But I was so skinny.
Yeah,
I was so, and like.
This is about when I met you. Too,
yeah, exactly. And we just become friends, and then with that became.
And we were like having talks. We were like,
Yeah.
Archie's getting scary skinny because you were like thin. You were probably like, I
Yep.
think when I met you, you're about like at your body weight now, maybe a little thinner.
Yeah.
And then, you're fit now, and you were like wasting away.
And this is the thing. It's funny. You can only. I thought I was doing very good at lying to people and covering it, but you are only as good of a liar as your body allows. Because at a certain point, your body is just malnourished, and you, no matter how hard you try, you just don't look healthy. But no one ever told me that they were talking about it, so I was like, cool, no problem. And my binge behavior was getting absurd because Sunday through Thursday, I would just eat those foods that I mentioned.
Yeah.
No alcohol, no extra, like no snacking. I did not snack. Stopped eating at 7 p.m. and then would just wait till breakfast. But on Friday and Saturday was the party days. So I would just try to make up for everything that I missed. So I would like binge food, binge booze, like be sick.
Yeah.
But it cancels out. You know what I mean? And like do all these things. And I remember I was at a party at West Street that you guys were having. And that was the first time you pulled me aside and you were like, dude, like you're getting like, you're withering away.
Yeah.
And like people notice and it's not okay anymore. So I guess that, I don't know, is that like the rock bottom moment, I guess?
That's it. Yeah. I remember it's like, it's good you were eating vegetables.
Yeah.
I want to say that.
Yeah.
Like,
Vegetables are good for you,
good on
everybody.
the vegetables,
Yeah.
but no, I remember mine was in it was in high school, and I remember because I had been a fat small child, like 4'6" and 180 was like my biggest.
Yeah.
I remember asking people in my family, like, just be like, am I fat? Like, and stuff like that. And I was. Like, you look back at pictures, like, yeah. And they still are like, no, you weren't. It's like, no, I was. I am fat. It looks like I'm going to eat my little sister. Like, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
Well, you had rollerblades
I
on.
was just
But so then I asked like everybody in my family that, and then I remember like, and I grew like to 5'6", peaked. I peaked at 5'6", and then throughout a summer, I ended up, while growing and like also just being like, oh, I'll go for like more walks or something like that. And then I got down to I think probably like 140 or something like that. And then my aunt came up to me one day and she was like, Eric, you lost a bunch of weight. You really needed to.
Wow.
And she was someone that I had asked several times about that. And then so in my head it clicked that no one will tell you.
No.
No one will tell you if you're gaining weight or anything like that. And I remember when my dad got me the scale, but it's like, it's so funny where what you see on the scale is just like, it is absurd how upsetting it, because I remember my dad one year, this was like, it was so funny, like, because this is like quite consistent in the type of person that he is, like, where it's just like, he's just not grabbing it. Like, I was like showing more symptoms of like losing weight and like not eating and everything. And then for Christmas one year, he was like, here's some workout clothes, gym membership, and a scale.
Wow.
Boom.
Because I know you're into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
'cause
then
you
I
like
remember
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember going immediately into my room and weighing myself and seeing 135 and then being like, you fat fuck.
Yep.
You 135? Are you kidding? Like, that's like 50 gallons of milk or something. I remember, but that was like the 10 miles where I was doing at least, at least 500 sit-ups.
Yeah.
A day and around 400 push-ups. Like, and it sounds ridiculous, but it's just like, this was what my day was. Like, nothing else was going on because I wasn't eating or anything. So it's like the other time was just like resting in between, like,
Yeah, it's literally
lying on
like
a couch.
you are using all the energy you have to
Yeah.
do the exercising, and then the rest is like shutting yourself down. Right? You're just like resting.
Oh yeah. And then like I knew it would be time for me. The way I would like my system worked is like I knew it would be time to eat, and it would be like every day and a half.
Yep.
Because I'd get up and I'd almost pass out, and I'd be like, oh, okay, you gotta eat something. And then what I'd do is I'd either have a giant bowl of cereal or eat like a half gallon of ice cream.
Yeah.
And then I would go into the bathroom, and it's I didn't know how to make I didn't know how to make myself throw up at that time, but I would basically spend like a half hour in the bathroom just like trying to burp so I could get my stomach to feel like normal again, which is literally just digestion. But like it's just like, no, I gotta speed up this process. Like, so you try and suck in a bunch of air, and then sometimes you suck in too much and not all of it will come out, and then you're like stuck there like trying to get that like extra burp.
My control. So I never reached a bulimic phase.
Yeah.
But I did think about it a
Yeah.
lot. And on the weekends where I would do the binging, if I somehow threw up because I ate too much, I chalked it up to like a cool, man.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we were fucking
Yeah.
dirtbags.
Yeah.
Like, we were literally like, fried chicken again, right, boys?
Yeah.
Oh, it's 3 a.m. Let's get
Exactly.
5 pizzas.
And
So it's
I-
like
I-
a lot.
I never saw it as a negative though. When
Yeah.
I did get sick, I just kind of saw it as like canceling out. But I did skip meals
Yep.
all the time, and I remember it kind of people want to offer you food and like things like they just like friends do. You want some of this, and it was very hard for me to just keep saying like no, thank you.
Yeah.
But like no, like please, and it's like no, I don't want.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like a very weird power struggle. Where it's like I've said no, please don't give me that, and you kind of drop that like nicety. I remember I had a piece of candy, and it wasn't a piece; it was a breath mint, and I ate the breath mint because they're like eat this. And when they left, I took the bag of breath mints. I was like, how many calories in a breath mint?
Oh yeah.
25. And then at the gym, I did 1,025 calories.
Yeah.
Because that fucking breath mint
You
fucked
gotta-
up
you
my
gotta
whole
take-
day.
You got to take care of that.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, had to get rid of that. Had to get rid of that.
Yeah. The whole process is I went through I did not, and for me it's been very odd chunks, and I can't explain what stopped my high school anorexia. It was like probably around 18, 19, where it just was. I stopped, and I was just and I realized it was like, wow, like this is like crazy what you're doing, and then so I had sort of like a natural thing. But it never goes away fully, but you can like sort of like zone out for a little bit, and then I had gotten back up to like I think 150 or something like that, like from my 120. And it was around 150 when I was working at the bar and drinking a lot, and I had a lot of extra cash. And that was, I think someone had mentioned that I was looking a little bigger. Which once again is one of those things where it's like such a mixed,
Also,
such
why
a
the fuck
mixed
do people
thing.
say this
Well,
shit
but
to you?
here's a thing though too. But it's like such a mixed thing because it's like, and I
No, but
I feel like almost bad for literally everyone, because if I gain weight, it's like if I ask you, you're not gonna fucking tell me. But if you do, why did you tell
dare
me?
you?
Yeah, why'd you say that? Yeah.
No, but I guess like it's like whatever it was that they said. I just like why are
Well, I can be honest.
Just
it was
anything.
It was Chip, and Chip had also gained a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Hey, look at Debbie, because I'm really fat now." Like, yeah.
He's looking great, by the way. I
Oh,
don't know if
absolutely!
you've seen him.
Like,
Yeah, he quit drinking.
Last
He looks
time
great.
last time I saw him, he looked fantastic. Sean too.
Yeah, he lost a ton of weight too.
But yeah. So good for you guys. Just keep doing
Yeah,
it. Don't
well-
stop working out. Don't eat. Do the like.
I hope it's a compulsive activity and you can't help yourself.
But yeah. So then that was around 24, 25, and it just like came back. Like I remember like looking in the mirror and seeing. That was another thing too. I don't know the body dysmorphia thing, where people will tell you, and like they show this in movies and like made from TV, like
Yeah,
movies
yeah,
and shit
yeah.
like that. They show this, but it really is crazy because I can look back at pictures of myself and just be like Jesus Christ, like I am crazy. Like
Yeah.
I do look unhealthy. Like people were correct in what they were saying, but you cannot see it. And it's like, so because like I could, and it's like skin, but I could grab a bit of my skin and be like, this is fucking
Yeah.
fat. Like
Yeah.
this is fat right here.
Yeah.
And people are like, no, that's just skin. And be like, you're wrong. Because this is my body.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea. Skin doesn't clump like this. Skin is
Yeah.
thin.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't. There's one photo of me that exists that I give people the credit. It's like, yep, that is gross.
Yeah.
And it's me at the beach, and like I wasn't wearing a shirt, and it's just like a mask. You know, like I had abs.
Yeah,
which,
yeah, yeah.
which is just code for like wasn't eating.
Yeah.
But to this day, I have this really nasty
Spinal
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
This cool spine looking
I have
ab
a
ring.
24 pack,
Yeah.
like lumbars 1 through but I have this nasty habit today of still asking people, like you said, am I fat?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, dude. And I'm like, well, you're obviously lying. Like
Yeah.
immediately,
Because I already know the answer. Like
And to this day, and it's interesting. Like I wanted to know, do you know how much you weigh right now? Like to
yes,
this day?
absolutely.
Because I don't. And part of my thing of recovery was I haven't stepped on a scale in a long time.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to know the number. Because
Yeah.
if I do know it,
You
I
obsess
will
about it.
start to obsess. So when I go to the doctors, I tell the nurse beforehand, hey, I have an eating disorder. I don't want to know how much I weigh. Please hide that information from me.
Yeah.
And so, because if I figure it out, boom, we are right back into.
Right.
Because I know that I've gained some weight.
Yeah.
Healthy weight though, and it's
Yeah.
very hard for me to tell the difference because
Yeah.
like I still think like, man, I used to be so skinny.
Yeah.
And like maybe, and like the thing is, I don't think that I am skinny anymore.
Yeah.
I think that I am like chunky.
Yeah, I gotta say
For sure.
100%.
Both of you guys are like,
I
Yeah.
am
healthily and in shape.
And well, this last one, I'll go into the bulimia in a bit, but it was just really, really crazy. This past, I think it was like maybe 4 months ago, anything like that, where I had had gotten on the scale, and I usually I'm good at it. Like I'll get on the scale about once a week, and it's like a genuine maintenance check where it's like, okay, like if I'm getting, because I work with hot dogs, like, so it's like, where it's like, all right, like, and if I get to like a certain, like, it's like, oh man, I'm going like a little bit heavier, I'll like cut back on some hot dogs, like, because I've gotten like,
So
because
delicious.
I liked, because that's one thing from being like a large kid is like you never lose that like, man, that shit's good.
Yeah.
Like, and I
As
want
a large
that
man,
all the
that's
time.
still how
Oh, I know,
my
but
life
no,
is.
but and it's like, and that's like 100. Like, if they're donuts, are, like, I end up going home with every dessert that's brought into work because people are always like, oh, a sliver, and then it's like, well, it's a free dessert. I'm gonna fucking take it home. Like, but this past, and because of that and hot dogs, like, I had like gotten like, and it wasn't like crazy, but I was like around like I was coming close to 160 when I got on the scale or whatever. It had been like a month or something like that. And so I was like, whoa, okay, like, cut back some stuff like that. But this past time, it was just so bizarre where only the body dysmorphia came back. Where, like, I was still self-aware enough to be like, okay, like, no, you need to eat. And, like, anytime I'd be, like, specifically, like, no, don't eat, and be like, make myself have something to eat. Mm-hmm. But I got down, and I remember, like, as like, you know, just slowly, like gradually, like, but like losing weight, and like I got down to like 145, which is like 5 pounds. Like, that's 145 is like the usual weight that I'm at, and so I got back down to my usual weight, and I saw like still like fat, and I was like, oh, like, okay, like whatever, and like didn't think about it too much. It was like, oh, 145, like whatever, and then I got down to 135, which is like a weight I hadn't been in, like, I don't know, usually stay around 140, 145. So it's 10 or 5 pounds lighter than my lowest for the past, like, 2 years. And I know that, like, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. But looking in the mirror, 135, I still was seeing the fat.
Yeah.
And it was just mind-blowing to me because, like, I know that it's not there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at a weight that's lower than usual. This is not actually happening, but I'm genuinely seeing it when I look in the mirror, and it's a very bizarre thing, and it's still here,
Yeah.
but it's like it's fading because I've been lucky enough, I guess, in that sense where I've had, and it's like after like, you know, a year or like several years of like going through something, but like snapping out of it. And just being like, whoa, okay, like, the bulimia was the worst one.
Yeah.
Because that was at 25. I was drunk, and I had a lot of expendable income. So I would go, and it's like, the craziest I got was, it was every day, and it was always before work. I would go get something to eat, and then eat it, and throw it up, because I figured out how to do it. I won't tell you, audience. And then so, like, and this was like such a on a consistent like level where it was like nuts, where I would in 20 minutes time like order a calzone, go pick it up, go back upstairs, eat it, throw it up, leave for work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's like, here we go. Okay, now I'm fine. I've gotten food in, I've thrown up most of it, but I have like
basic nutrition.
I've like taken care of the I want to eat. I've taken care of most of the calories, and I know I'm gonna drink, so I'll have like,
Yeah.
some pastrami and pineapple. Yeah,
Always.
yeah,
It gets me back.
yeah.
So where are you at now, Archie? I mean, you got, I think you've got more grips on your eating disorder, but where are you at with your OCD and anxiety in general?
So it's funny. I think so. The eating disorder is still very much like a everyday thing. But like I said, I've gained some healthy weight.
You're
back.
managing.
Yeah, so I'm managing that. But you know, like once you start to like get better at one thing, here comes the other shitstorm, and that is the germophobia, which is not doing well. At all. It is such a fucking struggle every day. It's weird. It's like living in a world where there are just things where you are afraid to touch.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where like sensory, I am fucked, and the rituals now are. So the OCD takes the form of germs, and mostly in the form of like bugs, like insects, or like both real and not real. Where I just think that there are bugs on everything that will be on me. That will be. I don't feel it. I'm going to take it everywhere, and it's a nightmare. And I think that stemmed I used to work with a population that came from very low socioeconomic backgrounds, and we were always warned that, real, like things like bed bugs, lice, these like very real things, like you might encounter something like that. And that one day just kind of buried itself like an insect in my brain. It was like, well, you're gonna fret about that forever now.
Yeah.
And so I left that job because it became too much. I threw all the clothes away.
Yeah.
I threw everything away. And now it's to the point where I just think everything is dirty.
Yeah.
And
It's funny you say about the bugs because, like, I got lice a couple of times when I was a kid, and it installed itself in my anxiety brain so much that, like, my skin gets wicked dry in the wintertime, and when I start to get itchy, I assume I have head lice.
Yeah.
And to the point where, like, I comb my hair compulsively to see if I have bugs, and I'm, like, constantly checking. I sometimes have people check my head
Yeah, if
for
you ever need a
lice.
pick through,
Yeah.
call your girl.
All right, I know you're a
And-
big picker.
Yeah, I've and don't let this freak you out. This is a brand new house with brand new things in it. I have some serious panic attacks related to bed bugs because 2 previous apartments many years ago that I lived in, I had bed bugs. And I had to get rid of everything I own. And now I'm super fucking weird about having people come over.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, I'm super weird about having people over. Like, we did an Airbnb here for a while, and the whole time, like, it was fine, but, like, my chest was just clenched the whole time. I was like, if someone fucking brings bed bugs into my house is insured for twice as much as I bought it for. I will burn this shit to the ground.
Yeah.
Because there's literally, in my mind, and it's not even that big of a deal. Like, I had recently talked to someone who did have bed bugs who I did not let come over. Or, like, no hand touching, you can't come in my car.
Yeah.
Nothing. You can't fucking wear my sweater. Nothing. And it's not that big of a deal, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
If I fucking have them again, that will be the point where I have, like, a mental breakdown because it's too fucking much. But now this house, everything's nice and clean, and I got it new, and it's fine because, like, but that was the thing. It was just, like, nothing from any other place. I don't even have the same car anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I can't stand the idea of it, but I'm still paranoid all the time that I'm going to, like, find one.
Yeah.
I think I genuinely found out it was 7 years ago. I found out that bed bugs were a real thing. and it was like 100%.
The bed bugs do bite.
Yeah, no, it was 100% because of the rhyme.
Yeah.
And I just was like assuming the fact that like, oh, this is just a parental rhyme. And that's what they say. It's a cute little thing. And then it wasn't until one of my girlfriends was just like, oh, I'm looking to see if this hotel has like bed bugs. And I was like, what? Like laughing at her, like that's silly. Like, yes, do they have a boogeyman site as well?
Yeah.
And then she showed me bed bugs, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, those are
super
things.
real.
It's the worst.
Those are places.
Yeah.
You okay, buddy?
Yeah.
It's fine. It's like I think you can tell like when people will listen to this, it's how like shitty though like that is for right now. It's like I can talk about the eating disorder very like compact,
Yeah.
nice, and there
Yeah.
you are. But I can't talk about like
Because
well, I can. I
you're like
will.
one
You
step
can't-
removed
yeah.
from your
Yeah.
eating disorder
No, and
now,
I-
but
But
you're
it's-
still in it.
I have so much fucking like scatterbrain.
I've seen you like I've been at places where there's no soap in the men's bathroom, and you make our female friends go to the bathroom
Yep.
and literally get you a handful of soap so you can
Yeah.
wash your hands.
Yeah. And like even it's so like hearing the word, it's like making me like.
I know, and I'm
no,
so
it's
sorry.
good. It's good because
Yeah.
you have to.
Yeah.
You have,
We do- we
Exposure
have
is the
to
only way you
And
get
the thing
better.
is,
You
too,
have
that
the
I've-
X cards if you knew.
Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't
Yeah,
see that
sorry,
was-
I
And
didn't
no
tell
one-
you.
No, that's okay. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna.
if
I'm
some-
not
Yeah,
gonna
if
touch
anything,
you. Yeah.
and it's just also too, I'm like grabbing onto that because I've not talked to anyone about that ever before. About like, and I think that that's why I
Yeah.
have a hard time leaving my house.
You're
Yeah.
like a perfect
I-
guest
I-
where we
I was
each
gonna
have
say-
individual things we can share.
I
with you.
really
I
want
often say Archie's perfect.
I really want to open that up because one of the worst things, and so I have this wonderful girlfriend who puts up with all of my fucking like messy nonsense with that kind of thing. And one of my rituals is whenever I get into the car or I go to a place anywhere, literally anywhere other than my house, when I get home, these clothes are coming off. I'm going in the shower. I'm putting new clothes on. Then I can go into bed.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
reached the safe zone, and I've been like flexing my rituals on other people now, and it's becoming very stigmatizing. Where she will, I don't make her ritualize, but I will be like, you can't wear what you are wearing and then we can't go to sleep. Like, you can't come into bed unless you like bring clothes.
Yeah.
And so she's got clothes in my house now, which is cool because like it made us take like the next step in our relationship.
Yeah.
And I love that she has like a drawer in my house, and it makes me so happy. But I'm so bummed out at myself that was
was the
why
reason?
that was
Yeah.
why it had to happen. And I could cry right now because it makes me feel like I'm a dick because I don't want anyone to think that I think they are dirty.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
it
like
breaks
you
my-
just think the world is
yeah, I
dirty.
just think that the world is inherently dirty, but it always comes off like, oh, I do not think that like my home is clean. And I think for a lot of people, that's just like a thing that they take pride in. And here I come like shitting all over it. Like, I'm not touching that. Like, there are
If
things...
it makes you feel any better, Abdul and Pete are in a band together, and when Pete used to live here, they one time came back from a tour. I made them get naked on the porch.
Yep.
And put all their clothes in the washer and dryer. I left them clothes
We
to
used to do
change
that.
into on the
So-
porch because I didn't know where the fuck they had been.
After we got laced,
I would just do that with Pete and Abdul anytime they came back.
I
from
filmed
anywhere.
it.
After we got laced the second time, my stepmother, who's a very anxious person, an OCD person, when we would go, it was before I lived with them, so we would visit on the weekends. And for almost a year, when we would go there as children, we would have to strip naked in the front hallway. They would take our clothes that we were wearing and all of the clothes that we had brought with us for the weekend, put them in the dryer on high for 60 minutes so that it killed whatever was in there.
Mm-hmm.
We would have to take showers, and we would have towels, and we would wear them until our clothes were done, and then we could get dressed. And that was so every weekend when I would go see my dad, we had to go through this ritual because my stepmother was so terrified, which probably really did a number on instilling that fear and anxiety.
No,
into
totally.
me.
And
It's funny though how the part of that sounds like really like, man, what great millionaire treatment. Take a shower,
clothes
hot
and
clothes.
shower.
I totally understand as a kid being like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
but
I
if
mean-
someone did that for me now, like you came home and like,
Well, it
Eric,
was
here
like
you go.
we were going to prison or like a
Yeah.
concentration camp too, because when we got them, it was because it was a very chaotic time with my
Yeah.
mother, and my aunt. One of my aunts had moved in with us with her kids, and my aunt was like a drug addict and an occasional prostitute, and like did a really shitty job of taking care of her kids. And they're great kids; they're awesome people. Yo, what's up? You know who you are. But they came to live with us, and they brought the lice with them. And my stepfather's kids were living with us too, so there were 7 kids who just all had serious head lice in the house all of a sudden. So
Yeah.
we all got our heads shaved too.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
like we don't have money for nicks. Like we're like, you're all getting your head shaved. We're throwing everything out. We're washing everything. So like we would literally go over there, and we're like, me and my brother are like
Yeah.
freshly shorn. It was like we were getting taken into
Yeah.
prison.
And like,
fucking-
I like to imagine too is like the delousing powder,
Yeah.
like
Just,
in,
like,
in
blasting
between,
us, yeah.
like in between the
sugar
shower.
syrup.
if I guarantee
Covered
you,
in
if
ants.
The lice don't like sugar.
I guarantee you that was probably an idea that was brought up and that my father probably shot down. But
Also, pro tip: if you're an adult with lice, you just have to blow dry your hair.
and he kills them all.
Kills them
And
all.
the eggs.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
No, I know everything. No, because I've had as an adult woman have stood nude on my front porch where my dryer was
Yeah.
to dry all my clothes, so
Yep.
that I couldn't bring anything to anyone else, and I wouldn't bring anything back home.
Right.
Yep.
So, I get it.
I think it's really interesting about the tour thing because Maddie and I play in a band together, and we were trying to get the organization of like a short little tour. And I remember you pulled me aside. I think it was a text message, and you basically told me like, you said,
Well, because I've noticed your
No, exactly,
behaviors
yeah.
in those directions have been getting worse,
and
and
you
I
were
was
like,
worried
I'm
about
worried
it.
about bringing you. Like, if you're gonna be okay
Yeah.
on the road, and I wanted to be like, no, dude, I'll be fine. But I
That's
was
literally what you told me. You're like, hopefully the adrenaline of the
Yeah.
tour just pulls me through, and I was like,
But I was
I
like,
don't know,
like,
little
this
buddy.
dude knows me too fucking well. Like, he's like,
Well, because
Nothing's more
we had
confident than a hopefully.
well, that's another thing is it all came about because like I had noticed your behaviors have been getting more extreme in that direction.
Yeah.
Like literally, Archie, I think you could only hang out at my last apartment, and the reason why we're good friends is because 1, you were getting really fucked up at my apartment, and 2, your compulsions were switching from eating. Like we kind of helped you through your
Yeah.
eating disorder
Yep.
there because we were such fucking dirtbags that there's literally no way you like you're never gonna be at a negative calorie count when you're hanging out at that apartment.
Yeah.
And it was the dawning of your germophobia, like you started to ramp up in that, because that apartment was fucking disgusting. Like it was a gross bachelor pad, nobody cleaned. Like I can't even imagine you now as the person you are stepping foot into that fucking place. Like literally, there was just mold crawling up our walls, like black mold. It was disgusting. There was so much mold and mildew in our bathroom that the walls behind the tiles rotted out from all the water damage, and I just caulked them all shut with like silicone caulking,
with old dildos.
but like but what started that conversation was because we were talking about shooting the music video, and we were like jokingly, half seriously talking about filming it at Hurricane Betty's strip club, and even just talking about it upset you so much that you like were mad at us for even considering the idea.
Yeah.
And like I know you would have gone through with it if we had forced you to, but like I had to be like, Archie, I just want you to know, like, if we ever go on tour, which hopefully we do, like, it's going to be hard for you. And like I worry about you, buddy. And like I know those are tough situations, and tour is a dirty time when you're like sleeping on people's floors sometimes.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't always have access to like, you know, good cleanliness things. So
And that is the thing where I was mentioning, like, flexing my rituals on other people. It turns into a very strange environment afterwards, because I get very upset. I'm usually like pretty, like I said, I don't really have like ups and down days. I have days where I can't ritualize, and then the shit falls apart.
also you're a very non-confrontational person. So to see over the past few years those types of conversations and those types of situations are bringing out this like aggressive mad person out of you, and it's like brief, like you don't stay angry, but like you get triggered by it, and like you get upset and confrontational about it, you know. Like,
and I've always told people, and I've said, like, people get weird at me because I always say yes and I try to please that. And when you said you want to be more assertive,
we are literally all like that, by the way.
Like if I say no to something, or if I don't want to do something, and if I say no, people get very uncomfortable because it's like, did you just like not?
Because they're so used to
break your back and do what I want you to do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I saw a lot of arguments that I've gotten into with friends usually start with that.
Yeah.
Because I say no, but then it's like, maybe it's because I'm sure I say it in a dick way too, but like either because I'm not saying it ever, it comes out that way, or it's just like the shock of hearing it, where people are like,
where people
all
understand
right,
you have a
what?
threshold
Like,
all of a sudden.
and then like they feel almost attacked, like.
And it's so funny because my threshold, I don't have a high threshold with OCD. With everything else, it's like you can literally just like beat like the whatever you want, I'll do it. But with OCD, it's like one thing, and then it's immediately I am like so upset and like get like very like angry about it. And when I quit this last job, I thought that I was like leaving that world behind.
Yeah.
And so I like purged all the clothes and like deep cleaned the car and like couches in my bed. And then I went to a new job, and I was like very happy for a little while, like super happy. And then somebody from my past came to my new job, and it is like slowly started to like on
now you think your job's unfested.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So now the honeymoon period has worn off, and it's like now I'm ritualizing at work again.
Yeah.
And it's like secret. Like I go to the bathroom a lot and wash my hands, but it's like I touch something, I have to go wash my hands. And if I don't, I will think about it until I do it, and I will talk about it until I do it. And it pisses a lot of people off because they don't want to hear me ask them, like, I will just be like, hey, I'm freaking out, man. I should have, like, is there bugs on my coat? And I will ask them over and over, and I don't even care what the response is.
Yeah.
I just want to say it.
Yeah.
Because now that's part of your ritual.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like
Confronting it.
perseveration is like very part of the ritual, and when I can clean it, then it goes away.
Yeah.
But like, there are things in my own house that I can't touch, or if I do touch, I have to wash my hands, and it's really fucked up to think that like you can't just like be calm and relax at your house. But like because there are still some like one or two odd work things that are still there that exist, like. You can't throw a desk away. Like, you can't throw a whole desk away.
Trust me, you can.
So it's like, well, I will touch that desk. Yeah. And my poor mother, who, like, is, like, my favorite person. It's, like, one time with laundry especially, put my clothes in the laundry, and then my coat, like, she touched, like, my coat, like, hit, like, dirty laundry or something like that. And I was like, oh, like, we're going to clean that.
Yeah.
My mother took that as I have a dirty home, and I made my mom cry.
Oh my god!
And that was my like fuck me moment.
Yeah,
and that was the worst. And so now I try to do everything secretly, but Maddie over here can sniff that shit out because apparently it's not so secret. You know,
It's not.
I mean,
you got some tells, buddy.
Yeah.
I was literally telling them about the X cards. I was like, "Oh, don't worry. If we trigger Archie, you will visibly be able to see his butthole puckering in his face."
no, and I totally did, and I was just like, oh fuck. And then I have this thing where like I feel I have so much guilt in me all the time. I'm just like, oh fuck, like I feel so bad because I know I have that empathy where I'm just like, oh god, and now I'm just like, now I just want to prove to you how clean everything is because it's fine. But like I have go through so many of the same things. It's really like, you know, speaking to my spirit. You know,
So where are you at? Like, what steps are you taking right now? Are you still you're seeing a specialist for it for a little while?
Yeah.
Are you still doing
And so I think this is good for all of us. So I started to see a therapist for my germophobia, and I just got nothing out of it. And I went because it was they wanted me to do exposure therapy, which is to just go
be around,
touch
live a
dirt.
life.
Yeah. And I was like, how do I explain to someone that everything bothers me? Like, she was like, well, what's like, make a list, like top 10 things. So I made a list of top 10 things. It was like, all right, well, we'll start with 10, and I put dirt with like just being out like, camping. I fucking hate camping.
I fucking.
And that was my number 10.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I want you to go outside and like touch dirt. I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing that because like when I leave here, you're not gonna follow me. So I can touch dirt or not touch dirt, lie to you, and that's it. And but that's my own shit. Like I was just not being truthful.
Right.
Yeah.
But I kept going. I went for like a while, but I was just getting. There was nothing really like I didn't feel like we were taking any positive steps. And on the first meeting, I said I don't want to take meds. Because for the most part, aside from this like crippling OCD, I really do like who I am as a person.
Oh yeah,
And I didn't want to gain weight because that goes with the eating disorder thing. I didn't want to take a pill that made me gain weight. I didn't want to have like mood swings or I didn't want to have any side effects. I just wanted to relax, but I don't want to do it from medication.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I hit a wall with her because she was like, well, you're not giving me much and I don't know what to do. And so it was like all my fault.
Right.
And so I stopped going because it's also very expensive.
It's expensive.
It's also very expensive.
Yeah.
And so I had to I stopped going because I just didn't get anything out of it. And that has been it really.
Yeah.
So I guess I only took one real shot at it.
It's hard too because it's such a slow recovery process, and especially when you're an obsessive person or an anxious person, you need these palpable improvements.
Yeah.
And the only way to get those immediate palpable improvements are meds.
Yeah.
And even like we were talking about earlier, it's I need to get mass health soon so I can get on meds because I need at least something low dose because my anxiety is getting very out of my mood swings. Like my bipolarism is getting out of control with my mood swings, but my general anxiety has come back so hard. It went away it didn't go away, but it was more manageable and I thought I had it under reins, but the last couple of years I just feel it ramping up and I feel like I did when I was a kid where I have this constant tightness in my chest and it's well, nothing I do therapy wise is going to help that because that's just the way I have been my whole life.
Yeah.
So I actually do. It's hard to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
you know?
And that's that's a huge thing. It's just I'm when am I at I can't really remember. I've just been the same person for so long,
Right.
And it's not getting any better. And I
it's hard
like
to
who
deal
I
with
am,
that,
but
change, and it's not gonna change your personality. That's the hard thing to
because
think about. It's I'm not gonna be a completely different person, but it's going to free up space for me to find out
exactly
the real person.
I
that
think
I am,
the part that's really funny is I totally understand it. I mean, when I was on medication, I was very specific where it was I feel like I probably do need something. I would like the lowest dosage to if it doesn't
That's where I
work, we
wanna
can
start,
build. But I don't want to do and it's just funny where it's I don't want to be a different person because I like who I am, and it's really amusing that this is the only time I've ever said that to anyone because it's just funny to think about it so much where it's the idea where it's just no, I don't want a medication because I like who I am, but I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's literally why I want to take medication.
I like who I
It's
am,
but there's such huge chunks of who I am that just aren't working for me.
Right.
and that's sort of right now for me really outweighing and ruining
Yeah.
who I am as a person,
And then
and it sucks.
oh yeah, it's and it's crazy. And another thing too is I think is really funny is 'cause again I've tried to change it. And the last time I did therapy, it was working. But then they dumped me again. But the whole thing that I think it's so funny, and it's really hard. It goes against all instinct, which is crazy. But when talking to either a doctor or a therapist, where it's like the instinct is lie,
Right.
where it's just like the funniest thing in the world, where it's like, and the same thing too, where it's just like, well, that didn't work. Where it's just like, well, like, what did I do? Like, I went in there, they asked me a question.
It's about being honest.
I said
with
I
yourself,
didn't smoke.
Exactly.
And then it's just like, well, then you got some weird issues.
And it ties into that like whole performative mood and performative behavior thing, because like it's just you transferring what you're doing every day, which is trying to mask those feelings of isolation and weirdness and mental illness, like how it isolates you and makes you feel so different, and you're transferring it to the people you're going to help you, but then expecting them to work wonders on you, but you're literally just doing the same bullshit you do every day, which is trying to hide that stuff. Because saying I am X way and then just hiding those behaviors, like, it's easy. It was like what you were talking about with your eating disorder. It's like easier to be like me. A way I work is like I can talk about like I am depressed, I am anxious, I was this way last week. But talking about my feelings right now and the way I'm feeling today is impossible for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm so in the moment, and it's like okay for me to be like, yeah, I was a wreck last week, because nobody can try to help me last week.
Yeah.
And nobody can be disappointed by me being a wreck last week. But me now has to be on top of things.
How are you doing now? Fine.
Oh, I'm fine. Do you guys need something?
Yeah.
Like, just pile your shit atop
No,
my
and
shoulders.
that's- and-
They are strong and broad.
It's always it's always found such an odd greeting from yourself.
I say it to literally everyone I see.
For most greetings, like, pile your shit on my shoulders. Like,
They are broad.
they are broad and strong. Well, nice to meet you, Maddie.
That's a really good point, though. When I went to go see, last thing that I'll say is, I'm also ever, and I'm done. Well, actually, I'm about to pee my pants.
Our
per
microphones
usual.
are getting repoed. We can only afford for two of us to talk after today.
They're rented, and I haven't paid. When I went to go, I got a new psychiatrist. I had the same psychiatrist for 15 years, and I got a new lady. And right off the bat, using all my best jokes on her, making her crack up, asking her about what she likes to do, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you know, me and my kids," and I was like, "Oh, tell me about like what's the deal with your kids?" And I'm like, "Oh wait, I fucking don't go to the grocery store because I have like an ADD/anxiety meltdown and end up coming home with Swedish fish and nothing else instead of buying real food."
It's like going to the grocery store with milk and being like, there you go if you need it.
You know? Like I came home the other day, I didn't buy fucking anything, and then last time I saw her, she was like, it stinks for my ADHD patients because they have to come in here like every 3 months, and it's like just to check up on them, and you don't have any other things going on. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I led you to believe that I just have ADHD. That's not the case at all. I have much more." And she was like, "Oh, okay, we got a half hour. We're coming up on 25 minutes." And I'm just like, "Okay, well, real quick, I don't want to take medication, but do you have any suggestions for me?" And she was like, "You should eat right and exercise and take a B vitamin." And so next time I see her, I'm going to be like, right off the bat, "Don't give a shit about your kids. So sorry, I let you believe that I did, but like I need something, and also I'm concerned that mixed with my ADHD medication, I'll have seizures, and I also don't want to gain weight because I've had my own saga with body image." So it's just like, I need to fucking write questions down, or it'll just be baby Jen singing and tapping her way through another goddamn psychiatric appointment.
We have, we only have 5 minutes left, and I really want to finish telling you about my daughter's birthday party. It was just really rough for me, because I had made everything, and my sister showed up being
that make you
her.
feel?
And now I'm dealing with my
perfect.
own age because my daughter's growing up.
I know. She's 12. Oh my God, I had her 12 years ago in my 30s.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know. I think we've gone for a really long time, so we maybe should wrap it up for now.
Yeah.
This is always the bummer because we would literally talk for like 6 hours.
I do this
if we
all
could.
day.
Yeah.
I know.
All day.
But Archie, super, thank you for coming out. And
Thanks.
you were definitely high on the list of people I wanted to have come on.
Absolutely.
And I love you, little buddy.
Not your
And I'm
last
sorry
time if
that
you'd like to be on
I'm
again.
sorry that
Yeah.
my perspective bums you out and I call you out on your bullshit, but I'm just looking out for you.
No, yeah, I think everyone needs that one person. So thank you, Maddie,
You're welcome, buddy.
and 2 new friends now. That
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, welcome to the
Welcome.
friendship
And I
circle.
really, really appreciate that you guys, let me have some time with you today.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
of course,
yeah,
dude. We would
no.
love to have you back again too.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Well, let's discuss that before.
But if you could just
No,
step
no,
outside,
I just
for a
want you to
second.
know that Eric is touching the X's right now. He's touching
super hard.
Friends episode. There was a Friends episode I saw.
Yeah, so that's it for the Crying Gang this week. Again, we're like all over social media now. I mean, you'll have been annoyed by us about it for
Yeah.
the past few weeks
Or
by the time this
you-
episode comes
yeah.
out, or you love it. But you can follow us on Instagram at The Crying Gang. Email us at thecryinggang@gmail.com. We're on Stitcher now and hopefully iTunes by the time you hear this, and we're still on fucking SoundCloud, so eat a
But
dick.
not for long.
Yeah, and we're gonna put the videos up on YouTube and stuff, so it's really easy to listen to. Thank you everybody for listening. And
Do we want to do a challenge or no?
yeah,
let it slide?
what's our goals here?
I'm going on that 2-week trip.
Yes,
The Comic Cons, which should be good and fun.
nerd.
I will punch you in the face later for that, Maddie.
As I stroke my Star Wars tattoo. I mean, Colossus shirt in a Gold's Gym spoof shirt that has Colossus on it, and
yeah.
it says Danger Room.
It's awesome. It's amazing. So what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and be realistic. I'm going to try and I'm going to try do 2 hours between cigarette. Do
Nice.
classic work
Yeah, dude.
rules.
Yep.
Like classic at work rules for cigarettes for real life. I also want to try on this trip to contact at least 8 or 3 people a day that I'm not like surrounded by, because I do want to work on getting out of my
Hit up that hotline,
isolation.
buddy.
Yeah, I
I
know,
love hearing from
absolutely.
you.
Like bam, bam,
Hey,
bam.
you know what the
buzz,
best part is? Now that Jen can't group message, that knocks off 2 right
I
there.
know that's 2. No, that's 2. It's a good thing. Yeah, it's good. I'll
You gotta
send this-
contact both of us separately.
Same message, just like
Counts.
Hey, Maddie. Hey, Maddie.
Also,
Good, man. Yeah, you got to take it slow. I mean,
Yeah.
damn it.
cigarettes are so tough, but I'm
Yeah.
sorry, did I interrupt you, Jen?
No, it's just God damn it. I really want pictures, but I can't get pictures there right now.
Yeah, what happened? You got your data plan revoked?
Yeah, I'm about to flip this fucking table. No, I got a new goddamn thing, and it's a whole thing, and I had to manually put in some APN settings, and I'm freaking the fuck out. But
That's okay. It's your turn. What's your goal?
it's my turn?
Yeah, what's your goals going to be?
uh,
It can always be your turn, Jen. Never
Never
speak up
Eric's.
whenever you want.
go.
I know you're I know you're still getting used to it, but
I
we
know,
want you
I'm
to talk
still-
to us.
Yeah.
I'm still trying.
You're our friend. We want you to share.
Fuck. I guess I'd like to keep my shit together for like at least a couple days. I had a bunch of meltdowns this week, mostly due to the fact that I can't receive picture messages nor group text. But I think that I would like to wash my bed sheets and then stop eating in bed would be good. I have an area in my bedroom that has 2 bean bags in it specifically for eating while lying down, and I really would like to utilize that more instead of getting barbecue stains on. It's not good for your sleep habits, and I
Yeah.
have terrible fucking sleep habits.
So you're going to try and
Me too.
beanbag eat?
Yeah, I'm gonna try beanbag eat instead
Switching
of
from the
bed.
bed to the beanbag, and then
Yeah.
maybe we can get you upright.
Yeah,
beanbag
Next step.
a little bit. I
Yeah.
have one of those bed husbands.
Oh, nice.
So he'll prop me up a little bit. You know, I'm enticed by sitting up a little bit because I have a neck massager.
Talking about a
Ooh.
So I
duel?
can throw that into the. Yeah. I make him sit behind me in a snowsuit for extra
And she
padding.
hates cuddling with him, so she makes him lay in an anime body pillowcase
That's right.
and they
Yeah,
sleep together.
exactly. You're too hot. Get off of me.
Also, look more like
Thank-
Sam Elliott.
Thank you, body pillow Abdul.
Also, sorry. I love you. I'm such a difficult
Good thing he
person to
doesn't listen to
date.
these episodes
I know.
anymore.
Thank God.
Yeah. All right. So you're gonna try not to eat in bed
Yeah,
and not have any meltdowns.
You just
and,
told me
and
to
not
eat
have
a
any
dick.
meltdowns.
You said eat a dick. I was
You're going
like,
to try not to
whoa.
Eat a
Yeah, eat
dick.
dick.
Sorry, guys.
No, I was
I'm
saying.
going to eat in bed. Fuck you.
It's unbelievable.
Second, you guys leave. Also, I
Get
will.
up here, bed husband.
Mama's got a job to do.
I need to be sat up just a little. But yeah,
I'll
so
get the
and not
GERD.
have a meltdown, and not eat in bed. Now your turn.
Yeah.
I would say I'm going to keep working on that anxiety work. I'm going to still keep doing it. That's a shitty goal for me to set because it feels like homework already.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm going to keep plugging away at it, but that's not going to be my goal. My goal is going to be to, before the next podcast, fill out the paperwork for health insurance.
Yeah.
So that I can start this ball rolling. I looked at it the other day, so that's the first step.
Yeah.
I also want to apply for college, one step at a time. But I also looked at the applications for college.
I
so
did too.
You got 2
So-
weeks, so one step at a time. Looking at it is a great first step.
at
The
it.
next step, pick it up
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I do
Like,
it.
pick it up.
So yeah, so that's my goal. Is I would like to have not success because I know it's like a fucking process, but I will have filled out. Oh, I have to do my taxes too. I'm going to do my taxes and apply for health insurance. That's my
Okay.
goal.
Nice.
Because they are the looming issues that are making me feel anxious. So, Archie, do you have any goals you want to set?
You do have a goal of picking a tagline for the end. Though.
Yeah, that's your job.
I really thought about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I didn't say I had a good one.
No,
I just said that I
I'm
thought
just
about
happy
it.
that time was spent thinking about it.
I got a backup one in case.
Okay, so my challenge is so when I go to bed at night, I sleep almost like sleeping bag style. Like I never sleep on like my mattress, like
Yeah.
my sheet, because I just fuck that. Like extra layers, nothing. I can't feel anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess my challenge, and I'll tell Maddie if I do it or not, to sleep one night on the sheet.
Nice.
Without
Cool.
a sleeping bag.
That's a
Alright,
really good
cool.
goal.
Yeah.
We could even do like a call-in thing.
Yeah.
Challenge,
Yeah, that would be great.
challenge, like yeah.
Ooh, straight to voicemail.
yeah.
I didn't do it.
Oh yeah. I would. Well, it would be funny too because if it was me calling, as soon as you picked up, I'd be like, hang up. Like,
Yeah, one of the things I read about because the anxiety chapter I did is about like what anxiety is and like what symptoms are and like things that I assume. Some of them were like, yeah, obviously that's a thing I knew was a problem, but like telephone is a big one, and like being afraid of the telephone, and they're like, most people are not afraid to pick up their telephone, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I super am. Text message has been great for me because I don't have to pick
Oh.
up the telephone.
oh yeah.
It's good to hear that out loud.
Right?
That's really
I was
good.
like, whoa, I thought that was just a fear everybody had, but apparently no, it's a mental illness
I had to
thing.
answer the phone
Oh,
the other
wait,
day, and I
so-
said, "Oh, hello," like Mrs. Doubtfire. And
So
it
it's
was
answering the
horrible.
phone. Most people are into it.
Not into it, but they don't like have dread when their phone is ringing and they have to speak to someone on the phone.
Outlier again.
Yeah. We did it, guys.
Yeah, we're nailing it. There can be only a bunch
Yeah.
of outliers.
a high percentage
but not
of
a
us.
lot. There can't be a majority. Like, yeah.
It's a testament to weird people that we all
Yeah.
end up hanging out together because normal
Yeah,
people
there
won't
can
have
be
us.
only few.
I've heard there's normal people, but I don't want to see them.
yeah.
Yeah. So Archie, what's your tagline? What do you got?
Okay, so I tried to be just like poet, but it's like fuck it all. So my tagline is, "Fuck it, just be happy for a little bit."
Yeah.
Good one.
Fuck
I
it,
like
just
that.
all right, everybody. Crying Gang, episode 3 wrapping up. Fuck it, just be happy for a little bit. Thank you, Archie.
Thank you
you,
guys.
man.
Thank you guys.
It's happening right now, all across the country and just across town. Welcome to Pasta Americana at Applebee's. All kinds of delicious new pasta specialties like grilled salmon with Alfredo pasta, low-fat garlic chicken pasta, or lasagna primavera. Pasta Americana at Applebee's. Pasta served with a great big helping of friends, neighbors, and family.
We're America's favorite